I will not sit up in the nosebleeds. I will not stop until they know me. I want you all to listen closely before I'm motherfucking broke.
Yo, pulled up to the set when I heard that brutal sound of the bass. Start to feel like I'm dreaming, man, should have seen that look on my face. But I'm so low-key, I'm an anonymous T that I left no trace. But when I step one foot in the room, I'ma set this place. I feel like king of the hill when they're never gonna take my...
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Dylan from Last Week in Wrestling Podcast, and what a weekend we have had here. A crazy weekend of wrestling, from TNA to, of course, the big one, the Elimination Chamber, that was at Perth, Australia. For most of us, it was at 4 a.m. For some of us, it was at 5. Some of us was at 2. Some of us was at 12, and so much more. Of course, we all did an amazing watch along here on the channel. So definitely make sure you check it out. I appreciate everybody that stopped by and hung out with us throughout that whole entire stream. Hopefully you got some rest this weekend. Hopefully you got some sleep in. I know I'm still trying to catch up on my sleep. I think I've gotten a total between the 2 days about 3 hours. So I am working on 3 hours and just standing strong and doing my thing. And of course, we got to give you brand new content each and every week like we do. So welcome back. We are back and we have a whole lot to talk about. Of course, if you are new, make sure you hit that sub button and of course turn on those post notifications so that way you never miss an episode while we are here. Today we are talking about, of course, WWE's Elimination Chamber and No Surrender, which is what we're going to start with off first. My guy, of course, an amazing guest, amazing friend in arms, none other than Kicking It with Leo is in the building. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm pretty much in the same boat as you as far as like not really getting a lot of sleep. I mean, I think before Chamber even happened, I got like 2 hours worth of sleep, and that's even including No Surrender. And I remember after getting off stream, I probably got maybe 3 hours after the stream, and I'm literally right back up, literally trying to get my thoughts and opinions kind of ready for this. And kind of just taking my personal feelings out of it and being more professional. So that's one thing that I've been kind of doing since then. But I'm here. I'm here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I get it. We're very upset. A lot of us here are very upset with the whole outcome of the Women's Chamber. It's been trending all weekend on Twitter.
Yeah.
We want Liv. So there's possibilities are endless with the things that could happen with, of course, WrestleMania 40 coming up now, roughly about 30-ish days away, which is crazy to say. I can't even believe now we are truly closer to WrestleMania season than we were just a week or two prior. But of course, the big pay-per-view that's coming up this weekend is none other than AEW's Revolution, coming up next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday. I will not be able to do a live stream like we always do here, but we are going to be doing a full-blown predictions pod, which is going to come none other than this Thursday at 8 p.m. We are going to do a predictions pod for, of course, AEW Revolution. It'll be myself, it'll be Leo, it'll be Wolf. We'll even have, of course, No Bones About Wrestling, Asa and Kay, who, myself, and them will be attending the actual event itself. So, of course, I am so excited for all of that. This is going to be such a great show. We are very excited to finally meet face to face, and it means that my friends are real, that you guys aren't fakes or in my head, and my mom could stop making fun of me for it, which is always great, and make pretend that I actually have something fun that I'm doing throughout the week. But of course, I want to thank everybody hanging out with us here. Eric, Joe Panther, of course, Wolf, my guys. How are we? I hope you guys are getting some rest. But of course, let's get into the big one here, buddy. Let's get right into it. No Surrender. I have to say right off the bat, Fantastic pay-per-view. I
Yes.
mean, from
Mhm.
beginning to end was just an amazing match after match after match. Eric Young, and Frankie Kazarian. Of course, the System versus the Jet Setters. Of course, the pre-show with the Rascals and I'm sorry, Speedball Mountain, and of course Mike Bailey and Trent Seven, Moose, as well as Alex Shelley, Josh Alexander, Simon Gotch, MK Ultra, Decay, PCO, and of course Khan. But the big one that we definitely are going to be spending a little time on is the debut of none other than Mustafa Ali versus Chris Sabin, which closed out the night for No Surrender. It was an amazing, absolute amazing main event. That has to be one of my favorite matches by far of that whole entire pay-per-view, but I have a few others. But let's get into the first one, which was, of course, that pre-show match, which was the Rascals versus Trent Seven and Speedball Mike Bailey, Speedball Mountain. And unfortunately, Speedball and Trent did not
Yeah.
pull out the victory here. They did unfortunately get defeated, as you could see down below, by the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. Dude, but this match was great. I mean, absolute great technical work in the ring. The guys were just absolutely non-stop. Mike Bailey just, of course, always stepping his game up by just enhancing his high-flying capability. Those kicks alone from him look so deadly, but I want to get your opinion. How did you feel about this starting off, of course, No Surrender?
I was very excited to see them start, the show. I mean, you have two great tag teams, whether if you wanted them to be in a tag team or even individual, they've proven that they can go the distance when given the opportunity to. And honestly, this match could have gone either way, and I wouldn't have been mad at it just because that's how talented they really are. You look at someone like Trey Miguel, he's been a former X Division champion. He's been part of these bigger matches, and he's proven, wherever role you put him in, he's going to thrive. He's going to show up and show out. He's going to literally give you everything and more when the opportunity presents itself, and he's definitely doing that. You look at the history between Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. I mean, they've have history going back for years. And I know he's not in the company, but Wes Lee even because they all ran together. So it was a great moment to see Zachary Wentz kind of go back to where it all started, go back to his roots a little bit, remembering what got him into the game to begin with, going back to what's familiar and what he knows best, and that is being part of the Rascals. I really feel like this was a great match. Like you said, it sucked that Mike Bailey and Trent Seven didn't get the win, but you got to think at the same time it was justified why they did it because you really had Mike Bailey doing pretty much a lot of the heavy lifting in this match, considering before that, when we streamed TNA right before the pay-per-view, Trent Seven did get injured somewhat in storylines perspective by none other than Steve Macklin. So you had to think that that was going to come into play and be the downfall of the team. And ultimately, that played dividend in the odds of the Rascals picking up the win here. So I was not mad at it. It was a great match. Looking forward to them probably getting back in the ring very soon, but we could kind of see where they were kind of setting things up for.
Absolutely. I think you hit it right on the mark there. I mean, Steve Macklin, of course, being that dirty, dirty cheat that he is, that dirty boy himself, actually getting in there and, of course, costing Speedball and Trent Seven the win by, of course, re-injuring in story kayfabe that injury from the night before as well. And Trent Seven had an amazing match with Macklin the night before. Prior, Trent Seven is very, very, in my opinion, who just kind of got recently introduced to Trent Seven. I've heard the name before. I've never really seen a lot of his work, but I have been more and more of a fan of his work as I've been watching him, especially on TNA. He's definitely had a big, big rub on me for sure, and it's been great. And honestly, I'm very excited for what is to come with this whole Rascals and Macklin versus Speedball and Trent Seven and everyone else there as well. Like this is just it's just setting more and more up for good storytelling and what could come from Speedball Mountain and of course the Rascals down the road. So I
Mhm.
am very excited and I'm so happy that this was a great way to start off. Of course, Wolf is saying he's also very excited for Revolution. Wrestling Bitch is saying what's up. Ninja Boy, of course, the We Want Live chance, which we'll get to a
Well,
little later.
yeah.
No Yeet, of course. Tino, what's going on?
What's
How
good,
are you,
Tino?
buddy? Yes, Leo's doing good. He's still got that beautiful color in his face after, unfortunately, the loss. But
We'll
we're gonna,
discuss that later, Tino.
yeah,
I'll
we were
give you
definitely gonna be talking about that later. We're gonna have a great conversation about that today. But of course, let's get into the big show itself. Let's start getting
mhm.
into some of these matches. Of course, we had the System versus and Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers versus the Jet Setters, Kushida, Kevin Knight, who unfortunately took the L on this one. But this wasn't the last time we were going to see these sets of men out
Yeah.
on TNA soil. Of course, they were later on with the Moose Alex Shelley match for that stipulation. But before that, they had their own match, which Brian Myers and Eddie
Yeah.
Edwards work like two ballerinas. But the only people that I think work better than them is Kushida and Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight is absolutely, in my opinion, probably TNA's wild card guy. And I think that he could be, if given the good push that I believe he deserves, a X Division championship run. I do. I really do. I see him being an absolute superstar. He's working with, of course, great guys, being on none other than Kushida, but facing people like the Eddie Edwards and the Brian Myers of the world. Now I need to see him start having good matches with people like Speedball, Mike Bailey, and him. Would be wild to see these two high flyers get into the ring and just go at each other and really see what they can do and bring to the TNA ring. But let's hear from you. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers picking up the win over the intergalactic jet setters, Kushida and Kevin Knight.
I mean, you look. I mean, it was a great match, and you literally made a lot of great points. You look at Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. I feel like they are the veterans. I feel like they're the ground bearers, the measuring stick for TNA. In my personal opinion, I feel like they're the measuring stick for TNA, and they have definitely been there to kind of, even though they got the win, but I still feel like at the same time they elevated Knight and Kushida. Even when in the grand scheme of things they lost, they still put them over to be something to look out for in the future in TNA. You even made a great point. You think about it, Kevin Knight, in my personal opinion, is going to be a breakout star in TNA within the next year to two, 3 years max. He is going to be a breakout star. And me personally, even though I haven't watched TNA for a long, long time, but in the time that I've known Kevin Knight, even though I don't really know too much about him, but in the time I've seen from him, he's definitely been impressing. He literally checks off the boxes, at least for me, of what a star could be. He's good in the ring, great in ring ability. I haven't really seen him cut a promo, but I'm pretty sure he could probably cut a decent promo. He's good at selling. Like if we literally go back to when we watched DNA, right before the pay per view, he can sell. Look at the spear he took from
Yeah.
Moose. He sold that like $1 million. Like
Yeah. His
like
selling
this
is
isn't
top
new to him.
notch. His selling is also top notch, and I would even say, Eric says to tell me to stop it. He doesn't want anybody to take Ali's title, but listen, man, every champion has to have a day where they lose it.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I watched MJF lose it, and it was a sad day. But hey, it always happens. I definitely think Kevin Knight with the right people behind him against Kushida would be very exciting to see them just one on one. Him and Mustafa Ali would be great. Him and Rich Swann, another big name, comes to mind in just that high flying technicality
Yeah.
moves. I think that would be really exciting to see from him as well. I don't see why something like that can't be set up for none other than a rebellion type of situation, of course, Bayou break that's happening, of course, in the next week or two for
Yeah.
TNA. So I'm very excited to see what is next for Kevin Knight, but he definitely has a great tag partner with none other than the New Japan legend himself, Kushida. I mean, Kushida's learned from the best. I
Yeah.
mean, the best. Tanahashi, Osprey even has probably picked up things from even just Kushida alone. You could see in Osprey's work. I think that Kushida gives more of a teaching course when he's wrestling
Yeah.
than just out there trying to be the best performer out of the group. So I'm very happy to see what we got out of these intergalactic jet setters between Kushida and Knight. But I definitely see a big future in Knight's future, and I definitely see him down the road facing people like a Mustafa Ali, a Nick Nemeth as well. I mean, another top guy that sells absolutely. He is, in my opinion, the masterclass of selling. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, whatever we're calling him. Like, he truly is the top tier of selling. And in my opinion, having him and Kevin Knight go at it, wow. Like, just take my money now. Take
And
my
even
money now.
and me personally, I mean, you said X Division. I might even take a step further. He can probably even go after that world title if given the opportunity and the push behind him. I don't like making comparisons to people because everybody's different. But this is I would think he can be like that Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson of TNA. You can have him be that underdog that people can get behind and have the push and get to that world title scene. I would love to see that. Me personally, by the end of the year, I don't be so shocked if he were to win a X Division title or maybe even the tag titles even.
Yeah.
Don't be
No, it's
surprised.
a good point.
Don't be surprised.
Yeah, no, absolutely good point. I love it. But let's keep this train a moving. Of course, we've had one hell of a feud between these next two guys. Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian, once tag team partners and friends, now arch rivals. Of course, Frankie Kazarian betrayed Eric Young during his last
Yeah.
match that they had together as tag team partners a few weeks and a month back. Then, of course, after none other than Eric defeating Frankie with a beautiful roll up pin. Frankie was not having it, didn't want to take the loss like a champ, didn't want to take the loss like a true sportsman, decides
Mhm.
to absolutely beat the living piss out of a referee and make a statement by beating him up to say
Yeah.
he is better than anybody else. But this match definitely was hard hitting. Both of these guys are very aggressive.
Yeah.
Their in ring capability alone with just how they brawl with one another, their suplexes, and just some of their even submission holds that one has. Frankie does play a little bit more on the lighter submission game side, in my opinion, than someone like an Eric Young. Eric, I feel, plays a lot more heavy on that ground game and submission game work. And I definitely think that's what kind of costed Frankie that potential win. And of course, this match had a stipulation, with that being whoever won this was getting a title shot at none other than TNA Sacrifice, which is happening in just a few weeks from now. And of course, that person being Eric Young versus, of course, we'll say who the
Mhm.
winner is a little bit later when we get to that match. But yeah,
Yeah.
Guy, talk to me. What did you think? How did you like the ending? Is this the right choice? And where do we see Frankie coming next? And then, going into, of course, sacrifice.
Honestly, I mean, like you look at it, this was a decent match. I would say you have two veterans. You have Eric Young, who is a former TNA world champion in his own right. You have Frankie Kazarian, both veterans. They've done it all. They've been there up and down the road. They've been all across the world making history, winning different titles. You look at Eric Young's history, not even just TNA, but even outside of TNA and the stuff that he did when he was away in the other company like WWE. You look at the things that he was able to accomplish over this short time there, becoming a tag team champion, having tag team feud of the year, having numerous moments. It's a lot of people tend to overlook Eric Young, but he is really on this type of tour right now in a position where now, me personally, he's showing everybody don't sleep on him because when the green light's on, he is going to give you 110%. And the same thing could be said for Frankie Kazarian. Both deserve their flowers. Both deserve to get more credit. They kind of tend to be overlooked when you have a lot of these people there. But these two are like trailblazers, I would say, when you think about it for TNA. They're in their own right, they're trailblazers to what we have now. Like, think about it. Like, right, and honestly, this match could have gone either way, and I would have been upset. But I think what they're kind of doing, we can kind of see what they were gonna do. They probably was gonna give Eric Young the win because, like we said, he's the face, and we're gonna get into that later. But I don't want to spoil it too much. But I wouldn't be surprised if Frankie cost Eric the title match. I feel like there's still more that we can get out of this feud. Eric can be in a position where he's facing for the title, be in a position where he's about to win, and there goes Frankie to screw it up and be like, "Ha ha! You thought you could escape me? No, you're not winning that championship." And they end up having their. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he tries to cost him the title.
I could definitely see that. And shout out to Frankie Kazarian because he has been working, Asa informed me, since WCW. This man has been in wrestling since WCW days. And to me, that has been a big statement. The fact that this man has been in multiple companies and has learned from absolute legends in and out of the ring to now having a great career in TNA is just shows that true dedication that
Hmm.
Frankie holds, and I give him much respect for all of that. But of course, this match next was the match we were waiting for, and it is of course ABC versus GYV. We watched GYV get the first win on TNA.
Yeah.
We watched them get the second loss on
Hmm.
TNA's second show, leading
Yeah.
in to this one. And then it came to one apiece, the Grizzled Vets and ABC. Last bout, last match. My God. This tag team match alone, if this was the only match of the show, alone,
It would have been 5.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. There is nothing. The whole series was amazing. The series alone needs to be redone one more time. But the finish and end of this beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful series was, I'm sad. I thought it was the Grizzled Young Vets' year. They just have been so dominant in the tag team land. Amazing work in House of Glory. I know they've also worked in Wrestling Revolver, TNA. They've done some other local scenes, and that's been great. But god damn, dude. God damn. Ace Austin, Chris Bay just gets another W over Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah.
There wasn't one moment of this match that didn't make me go, holy shit. Holy shit. I mean,
Yeah.
Ace Austin's a fucking beast. I don't know
Hmm.
why people don't talk about how amazing Ace Austin is and how far he's come for such a young age in this type of standing in professional wrestling, to be with one of the greatest tag teams right now in this independent universe in the big pro wrestling scene, being ABC, working with none other than Chris Bay, another absolute talent. Honestly, if they really wanted to really make us give us our both of our kidneys to watch a match, get Kevin Knight with Chris Bay and Ace Austin and make them a trios. Done. unstoppable force. Unstoppable force. Unbelievably wild. I have nothing but the highest regards for all of these guys here. They put on an absolute banger of a series. But talk to me, man. What did you think? I know we were both rooting for the vets.
Yeah.
It did it. It did.
Um,
We already started a weekend off wrong with the loss of the vets.
man,
But
I tell
hey, the
you,
main event though, the main
it,
event, Moose's match, MK Ultra's match was good, including, of course, Alexander and Gotch. But yeah, listen, and
yeah,
Jordan Ann was fantastic as well with Giselle Shaw. But this is where the show
yeah.
truly hit another level. So talk to me. What did you think of this? What did you think of this match and the series?
I I loved it. This me personally, I mean, I know we're very early in the year, but as of it stands right now, this is my favorite tag team match in TNA right now.
Yeah,
It really is. You have GYV, who every time they always have their presence felt every time they step foot in a ring. Every time they step foot in the ring, they give you everything. They leave no questions unturned. They leave no doubts every time they step in the ring.
yeah.
Every time I see them, I get old school tag team wrestling vibes because the way they present themselves, it gives you how a lot of the tag teams were, back in the 80s, back in the 90s. They carried themselves with class. They carried their every time you see these tag teams, you know what you were gonna get yourself into. They were gonna be classy, but when the match is happening, they give you everything. And it sucked that they didn't because I felt like they were going to. And that's not me. And I'm all okay with, them retaining the tag titles because but the only thing that kind of lets me on a cliffhanger is just like if we had them beat GYV, who is else lined up that I feel like could be a legitimate threat to that tag team title reign that they're on right now? Because I think they've been holding those tag titles since Bound for Glory, which was I
Rascals,
think Rascals could be up there.
Rascals. I would say.
Kushida and Kenny Knight could be a
I would say the
possibility. They're
intergalactic jet setters, Speedball Bailey and Trent Seven. I
only
think would
problem
be
with that
another good one.
Only problem if they do that, I feel like at some point the way they kind of been teasing things, it looks like Trent Seven might break away and he might turn heel on
Mm,
Mike Bailey, which I think is going to be a match that's going to happen in the near future.
okay.
Um, I do think that's going to be something to look out for. I don't know where GYV goes from here. Maybe it's a possibility they get one last opportunity and can have that caveat if like, if they face Chris Bay and Ace Austin and they lose, you can no longer challenge for the tag titles while we're champions. And that's on another note, you look at Chris Bay and Ace Austin, both incredibly talented, like you said. You look at Chris Bay, he is literally the diehard TNA fan. And
He's
like I
been
said, I
TNA
don't
boy since day one.
exactly. And I look at, we look at a lot of wrestling companies where you have that person that's been there their entire life. They never really went anywhere else. They were loyal
Loves
to the
TNA.
company. Like you look at people in the world of wrestling right now. What if it's an AEW, TNA, or WWE? You look at AEW. MJF is somebody I can see a diehard TNA guy that would be with him till the day he decides to retire. You look
Yeah.
at WWE, you got Seth Rollins, who's very loyal to that company. You got people like Randy Orton, John Cena, all guys who are loyal to their company since day one. They always talked about it in the promos. They always talked about it in the interviews, how much they like the company, how much they don't want to leave the company because this is the place that they want to be. This is the place where they want to start and finish their careers. And you got to throw Chris Bay in that conversation because he's literally a diehard fan. I knew a little bit about Chris Bay, but I literally seen him on YouTube going back from years and years ago on
Mhm.
YouTube reviewing the TNA titles. And it's crazy to think that years later down the line, he is a guy that's holding the title.
Yeah. And he's holding them with pride. He's holding them with
Exactly.
pride. He's holding the new gen tag team titles just like he was holding the old gen tag team titles, now these beautiful new belts that he gets to hold as well. And he's been holding it with such grace and such pride. And Ace Austin, we can't slack on him. The guy has been Kobe at the line. Like if you need
Yep.
a sports comparison, Gina at 02. Like there he has been the guy. Ace Austin has been the guy that we have to start putting both of our eyes on because
Yeah.
that guy, like Kevin Knight, when or if he does break away from the tag team scene, could be a big champion, a huge front runner in the X division, in the World Heavyweight Championship division. I mean, hell, like he can do it all, dude. He could do it all. He could kill it. He's an amazing, amazing ground games worker. His submission capability is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I truly give him and commend him on that ring awareness to a T. And I know he's learning amazing things from Chris Bay.
Yep.
But besides that, I know he's just a fan of this business as well and is learning from so many more. So I have nothing
Mhm.
but good things to say about ABC. I got to meet them at House of Glory. I got to watch them wrestle the main event people, and it was wow, just amazing, just wild, and it just they're crazy, dude. I've never seen like main event, like Grizzled Young Vets, ballerinas. I think it's funny to say that, but it's the truth. They are ballerinas in the ring, and I mean that with the highest respect because the way that these two work together is so in sync. It's crazy. It's crazy how they never ever trip over one another with everything
Yeah.
that they bring to the table. But a match that I thought was going to maybe be a little bit different. I thought maybe this match was going to be a little bit crazier than I expected it, especially with one of them being none other than PCO, the Canadian Frankenstein. This guy has just been my favorite. He's an
Yeah.
absolute joy to watch. The fact that he like dies after the show and has to be resurrected and electrocuted during his entrance to start his entrance and start like going on attack mode is the funniest thing to me. Like that is
Mhm.
so fun. The gimmick is so funny. It's just a funny thing overall to watch. I am such a fan of him, and it is so great to see this just happen. He faced Khan, who of course took out PCO a few weeks back during a
Yeah.
TNA taping, setting up this match that we saw at No Surrender. It does set up some more potential moments for the both of them,
Yeah. Mhm.
though both guys, I respect it. It just wasn't hitting for
Yeah.
me. You know, they were taking crazy bumps, especially PCO when he
Mhm.
did the running flip onto the mat on the outside, not once, but twice. He really puts his body out there and on the line. And I tell you now, it has just been amazing to see. But I am just, God, God, it's just too much. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
just too funny. It's too
It is.
funny.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, and as much as I like PCI, he is one of my favorite characters in TNA. But as being honest, this kind of was the low point of the show for me.
Yeah.
Um, and and both guys, I'm pretty sure they're decent. I just feel like, it's one of those things. Maybe it's more than we may know. I mean, we know PCO can put up a good match. Maybe it's Khan. If you guys don't know, he was part of the Ascension with Victor. He was and whatnot. Um, maybe this is the thing with him. I haven't really seen too much from him since he's left WWE up until this point. Maybe the thing with him is he's kind of the way I see it. He's probably more conditioned to being a tag team wrestler compared to a singles competitor because we never really seen him in that type of position before. So
Mhm.
maybe it's one of those things where it's kind of he's trying to get adjusted, and that's kind of why the match fell flat the way it did. Maybe it's one of those things where there's a need for progress. But one thing with TNA, even if the match is not that, the best on paper, or even if the feud is not the best on paper, one thing that I do give TNA a lot of, even if it's like a quick build, they know how to position these matches and how to get invested in the wrestler. And not only that, but also on top of that, they know how to build a feud, even if it's a short term feud or a long term feud. They know how to build up a feud to even get people invested. Even if you are watching for your first time, they know how to catch your attention and keep you guessing.
Yeah. I tell you this now, I want to see PCO and Khan one more time in a no disqualification match. And I feel like maybe then Khan, like you were saying, will be able to break through in the single scene and maybe just be one of those other big guys that could work in a hardcore match setting than maybe just a regular singles division type of setting. I'm very excited and hope that we get it, whether it's on a pay per view. I prefer it on a pay per view, but I kind of would prefer it on a pre-show before the putting it on another main show moment, only because this one was very underwhelming, and of course ending it with Khan losing due to disqualification by hitting PCO. It wasn't the same for me with all of that, and I was very very unhappy with that ending and that
Yeah,
result. But listen, even though we hit a low with that one, we started to go right back to the top, baby, because MK Ultra versus the old reigning and defending champions, Decay, are now our new women's tag team
yeah,
champions over here in TNA. Here's my thing. I think this was great. This was a great match. It was
yeah,
exciting to see it hard to kill. It was exciting to see here. It was a very quick match and hard to kill. I'm happy they
yeah.
gave this match another good 8 minutes for these ladies to go at each other and really put on a great performance. This was not another one of those matches for me that was an underdog type of card spot, and I thought it was great, leading, of course, into the next singles match that's coming up. But again, they only put one match of Decay prior to the show in a regular TNA taping. And because of that, with no build, it does make us underwhelming. The wrestling ability is great. It definitely told a story that can be told. Same thing is hard to kill, but at the same time, I need them to do it on these tapings. I don't
Hmm.
know why a promo, just a
Yeah,
segment, something,
yeah, something. Yeah,
something to not bury these women.
yeah,
Please. It just,
yeah.
because listen, Marsha Slamovich and Killer Kelly
Whew, are great.
are fantastic. Killer
People,
Kelly is amazing. And
people
you
forget.
don't give these ladies a moment? I wouldn't even care if every single week was a promo. If
It's
they
something.
did vignettes to build for this match and just took shots at each other, kind of like the Seth Rollins and Riddle, give it to me. Give me that. Then having MK come out there, or Decay, I forgot which one was out there during the past weeks. I think it was MK, and have a good match, but that's it. Nothing more, nothing less, and nothing, and just not really making a statement. Making Where's the statements? Where's these? Okay, setting up for no surrender. These ladies are going to be amazing, amazing, and just like even Temple right here is saying, Marsha Samovich
Yeah,
is the one to beat
it's a
Jordan Grace for the
possibility.
Knockouts title. Can't see why not. Macklin, of course, we're going to be talking about him, and we talked about him a little while ago, but could be the one that beats Moose for the TNA belt. But going back to the Masha,
Yeah,
this one, guys, it's the truth. It's the
it is.
truth. Like,
It
she is such a talented worker and really knows how to put someone over
Give me
in
one
more
second, Dylan. I'll be right
senses
back.
than anything. And I just don't understand why we are not getting any push for that. Like a build of some sort, a promo of some sort, a segment of some sort, just a little something, just a tad bit, eeny, beeny, weeny bit of something before we get into a big pay per view moment like No Surrender. That's when it's supposed to boil out and figure itself out. Matches are supposed to make it happen, make that next step and that next chapter moving forward happen. And if that's not happening, then what are we doing? Give these women the time that they want. Again, I'm happy they got those 8 minutes, but at the same time, it didn't really do much for them as this feud has insisted since Hard to Kill. Leo, what do you have to say, buddy?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this because I really feel like this needs to be said. People tend to forget Masha Slamovich won the GCW World Championship. Do people tend to overlook that? She has literally been a staple in the TNA Knockouts division. She has pretty much gone up against Deonna Purrazzo, took her to the limit. She's pretty much done a lot of things. People continue to overlook her. If given the opportunity to do so, she could be a main eventer in one night. Then she could be in a tag team, but the next night she's in a world title picture. Nobody's gonna bat an eye or question it because she's that
Right.
good. And my thing is with this feud, my thing is the build up. It really didn't hit too much for me because it's like I see the build. I look at these build-ups, and for me personally, I don't think they gave a lot of time to this match. And another thing, as much as I like seeing them pick up the titles, it felt like more like a transitional reign. If that was the case, and I'm okay with transitional reigns here and there if it makes sense. But for me personally, going back to Hard to Kill, I don't think Masha and Killer Kelly should have dropped the titles to begin
Me
with.
neither.
If because it's like you literally just had them lose it to K, only to get it back less than a month later. At that point, you might as well have just kept the titles on them and build to somebody else. Because right now, I feel like if you would have kept the titles on them, who I think should be the ones to defeat them for the tag titles, Jody Threat and Dana Luna. They're pretty much making their claim for the tag titles. Why not let them go after the title? Because I feel like there's the better story there because they've
Good
been
pick.
feuding. Because right before they went up against the K for the tag titles this past week, they were already building a story between both and Danny Luna and Killer Kelly. They were literally building feuds with both tag teams before the show. If they were going to do this, this is the story I want to see. This is the story I want to get invested in because it's actually a story and they have invested time to where I can care for this match. Did I care for the match that they had on No Surrender? Of course. Of course I cared to an extent, but at the same time, it took me out of it because it's like yeah, I know the match is going to be good, but if there's no story there, what reason is there for me to care? And that's one thing I look at as wrestling. And I feel like there's been so many times we've seen that in wrestling. Oh, since we've all been watching wrestling, there's been moments we've seen where, yeah, the match is going to be good, but the build-up was not the best. Or vice versa, where the build-up was great and the match was horrible. This I wouldn't say was horrible. It's just this was probably the second lowest point. I feel like this whole little part right here where we had the PCO and Con match and this match right here, this was kind of like my lowest point of the show. Not
Yeah.
because the wrestlers involved were bad, it's the stakes at play that made it bad. There really wasn't no build up. It kind of felt like rushed to get here to, and I feel like it could have been just played out on TV if you wanted to, and this could have gone to somebody else. Me personally, I know we're gonna get to the match later with Giselle Shaw and Jordan Grace, and who was there. Ash by Elegance was involved there because she was kind of sitting ringside. Honestly, you could have literally taken PCO. As much as I like PCO, you could have taken the PCO and Con match out and put Ash by Elegance there and have her feud with somebody going to this show and have her first match on a pay-per-view. Because right now, if we're looking at it, I'll talk about it later. But when we get to it, I will get to it. But I'll go in depth a little later. But it,
Yeah. And like Temple's saying, to your point, Masha, when she's champion versus Killer Kelly, put these ladies in a dog collar match.
oh, easily the match of the year.
Take my money. Take my money. Take all of it. GVY versus the Rascals was
Yeah.
ridiculously good. Dude, amazing match, 100%. So happy for them. But let's get into, of course, another really great singles match, and I hope everybody caught this one. Simon Gotch versus Josh Alexander, but Joshy Boy retained and got another dub.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yep.
Joshy Boy got
Yep.
another one.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Alexander the Great
Yeah.
beat Simon Gotch, but this was no easy battle for Alex.
Oh no.
Like we thought Osprey was a battle. This one was another battle because Gotch is a very good in your head vaudevillain. Like he is a villain. Forget the vaud, just a villain. When
Yeah.
it comes to mind games, Simon is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy you don't want in your head because he will make you believe what you are doing isn't working, even if it's working. And it is a sight to see because I tell you now that it was so good, nonstop. But Josh got the win. How did you feel about this one? Talk to me. And where do we see Alexander next in the road to sacrifice?
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Like Simon Gotch, I went into this match thinking this was probably gonna be almost a squash match because maybe it was for me just not really paying too much attention outside of the WWE, and that's kind of where I've been kind of expanding upon is kind of seeing where these guys and girls are when they're not in the WWE and kind of building their fan base and building their name and legacy outside of the WWE and whatnot. And you look at him when he was in the Vaudevillains in NXT. They were in the same me personally, I feel like they were just like in the same position as GYV. They gave you that old school wrestling vibe, the presentation when they come out in the entrance. And it's crazy to think that the same people we're talking about are both in TNA right now. Aiden English is pretty much on commentary for TNA, and you have Simon Gotch coming in. I did not know Simon Gotch had this fire in him and actually can perform at this high level. But now seeing that, I want to see more from him. I really, and like you said, he is a true villain. He is. He's proven it. The mind games alone should sell you why he's a villain. A old school, old fashioned villain. The mind games, everything. Me personally, Simon Gotch, if given the opportunity to, should become X Division champion at some point. Imagine him going up against a Mustafa Ali or a Chris Sabin or Alex Shelley. Like those matches are going to be intriguing. Those are going to be must see. People are like right now, and I feel bad that I've been sleeping on Simon Gotch for so long. If Simon Gotch, if you end up watching this, I'm sorry. I've doubted you all these years. You've definitely proven to me you have what it takes to be a future world champion in
Yeah.
the business. Um, he's definitely proven it. Whereas I would like to see where Simon Gotch goes from here. Maybe they can add another match with these two in the feud. I would love to
I'm
see this
okay with
feud
that.
continue. Imagine if they want to make this a best of 3 series with the winner getting a world title opportunity or a X Division title opportunity. Like, add
Imagine,
some stakes
imagine,
to this.
imagine the current TNA champion versus Eric Young versus Josh Alexander. 3 big beefy men mashing meat at
Yep.
a pay-per-view. I mean, listen, you got me, Juice Robinson, hard. You finally made me realize what made Daddy Magic Nipples so hard. Honestly, like
Yeah. Yeah.
truthfully, you have done it again. But like
Yeah.
Temple is saying right here, Simon Gotch is one very good pro wrestler.
Mhm.
He works for Noah in Japan and is part of a faction called Real with Tanahashi, Segura, Timothy Thatcher, which is
Whoo!
wild,
He needs to be in
Saxton
TNA.
Huxley, Hideki Suzuki, Rene Dupree, and Wagner Jr. Dude,
Put that man put
I'm gonna have to
bring
find
Timothy
that.
Thatcher in. Bring
Yeah,
Timothy Thatcher in. If you want, put him and Timothy Thatcher as a tag team. They're both hard hitting.
yeah.
They make you
Simon Gotch,
feel
go
like
once.
you're a part of what's going on. They make you feel everything, every slap, every
Yeah,
chop, every punch, every kick, the submission game on point.
yeah,
Like if you were to see these guys in person, you'd be terrified. You would just give them all your money and you and,
yeah,
and you would just walk away and glad that you got to run into somebody like that. You
yeah.
wouldn't question anything. You would just
No,
give them what they
I
want
wouldn't. I would say, "What do you want from me?" And
and how
then just
much
hand
you
them my
need.
credit card. I'd be like, "Okay, here you go. Like,
and it's
this is it.
and you
Just
let them know,
take my money."
hey, it's maxed out and maxed out,
Yeah,
and you go enjoy. You go enjoy
yeah,
because that's how good you are. But
yeah,
all jokes aside, but definitely Simon Gotch definitely deserves something big in the future. I think there are
yeah,
some big plans for him. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you got to watch out for in the near future because this guy is going to be making some waves in TNA. Let me tell you. There's a lot of things for him to do down there. Him and Nick Nemeth going at it would be interesting. Him going up against Kushida could be interesting. Him
Him and
against Alex
Nemeth, don't
Shelley.
talk to me. Don't talk to me at
Alex
all if you don't
Shelley
want to
could
tell
be
me nothing
interesting. Chris
nice.
Sabin, Eddie Edwards. Like
Ooh,
you have the guys, you have the
Brian
roster
Myers.
there, man.
Brian
Brian
Myers.
Myers.
Ooh.
You literally have the guy. Josh Alexander again would be great. I
Yeah, we
mean,
need one more. I need one more between the two of them. Well,
we
at least one more. At least one more, and I'll be happy. I'll be happy to see at least 2
him versus
Alexander
Eric
Gotch
Young.
matches for sure.
Him versus Eric Young could be good.
Eric
There are
Young would be
the
wild.
roster is there to help him
And
flourish
even
and really be on top there.
and even Wolf said it. Simon Gotch versus Josh Alexander did not seem impressive to me at first. And then the match happened and it was amazing. Definitely exceeded my expectations. Wolf, me too. Me too. Like I didn't know what I would think of with Gotch. I was like, oh God, is this gonna just be a weird a weird squash match for Alexander? Nope. But let's get, of course, to now the last 3 matches of TNA's No Surrender. And we're starting off with the throw in the towel match between current and defending and reigning Moose versus former current defending and reigning Alex Shelley. And it is for that TNA beautiful goal, baby. Moose retained, and my God, did Alex Shelley not be happy about that? He could have went longer. He was upset Kushida threw in the towel for him. He didn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. But he had to have that towel throw in. He took not one, but 2 spears, and he put his body with the chains and the chairs, the garbage can, everything. he put his body through hell. The both of them. Moose put his body through hell. He was limping after the match, limping on his
Yep.
way back.
Yeah.
And he proved yet again that he deserves to be on the top seed. And Moose 100% deserves it.
Whew.
Big up to Moose.
Yeah.
Dominant person in TNA. To be honest, if you want a fantasy book for a second, Moose, Samoa Joe. Give me it. Give me it. Give me it. I think the two animals, it would be Carnage. Carnage in the
Hey, you
ring.
want to talk about Carnage? Let's go. I mean, he was there just a couple weeks ago when we seen him at Hard to Kill. Moose and Alex Hammerstone. Oh Lord, that's gonna be a killer match. You got two beasts going at it.
Barbarians.
Just
Straight cavemen. Fighting over the last dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Their civilization resides on this last dino.
Mm-hmm.
And if one person don't get it, that's it. Their civilization.
It's game over.
Their civilization is donezo.
It's game over.
Finito. They're just gonna be written on a stone wall as remembrance. That's it. People are not even gonna remember their names. You know? But dude, this was amazing. Another 5 out of 5 for me. Alex and Gotch was 5 out of 5.
Yep.
There's nothing but great things to say about this one as well. But talk to me before we get into, of course, the women's match.
Yeah. I love the match. The match was very great. You had that spot where it made me cringe because I knew it hurt. Like that spot where Alex Shelley was twisting Moose's fingers with a wrench, mind you. That right there, I'm like, please, no. And I'm literally gasping because I'm just hoping it doesn't go wrong. He ends up twisting it so bad, literally, he cuts his finger off. I don't want to see that because the way it looked, he was trying to literally cut this man's finger off to which he couldn't even move.
He was trying to take it off. He was. Yeah, he was. Oh, man, it was so great.
I
It was
mean,
so great to see.
The ending was great. It came off as like, like you had the match where you had everybody in their corners. This is where we seen Kushida and Kenny Knight in the corner of Alex Shelley there, and you had the system in the corner of Moose. Me personally, I know we were talking about this earlier as far as people in the comments was talking about who could take the title off of Moose. I feel like maybe with the way it's being presented, I say it's gonna probably be Moose and Nick Nemeth at some point. I feel like that's the match that they're getting to and crowning Nick Nemeth as that guy in TNA as their world champion. Nothing to take away from Moose. This guy is literally reinvented himself. I think he's another guy in the Chris Bay conversation as somebody that's very loyal to TNA. I mean, he's literally a very fleshed out character. We've seen the rise of him. I mean, he came in as his face kind of getting out of the football aspect, I think, because he was in football at one point, now kind of adjusting to the WWE, not WWE, but TNA and wrestling style of things, and kind of actually being that exception, because we see a lot of people who come from these different sports not really able to make it when they switch up and go into wrestling. But he's definitely been an exception as far as being somebody who's been able to kind of flourish and actually break away and actually have very much found success and in the wrestling business. And you look at this guy and it's like, this guy is literally like a beast. He is literally hungry to be at the top and willing to do anything to keep himself at the top. He gives me final boss vibes of TNA. I really feel like no matter how you put it, he is the final boss of TNA. I really feel like that's how I see him, that final boss character of TNA. You got the people around him that's going to be trying to protect them and keep that title on him. At the end of the day, he is the final boss of TNA, and I love this match through and through. I was kind of shocked the way it ended with Kushida throwing in the towel, because I was like, huh? I was like, I thought we was gonna get more out of the match. The
Yeah.
way it kind of played up, it seemed like I think there were a couple of boos in the ring, like booing Kushida. I don't know how they're gonna explain this. Maybe this is something to tease something in the future. We'll have to see. But if this is part of a story that they're building where Kushida ends up turning heel, and you have a heel Kushida versus an Alex Shelley, oh my god, I'm ready.
Yeah, me
Because I
too.
don't think as far as I know, I haven't really seen Kushida as a heel.
No, I don't think he did any work in New Japan as a heel. I could be wrong. Temple, if you're still with us, buddy, let me know if that's true or not. But of Kushida being heel,
But this would be something
maybe in New
interesting for him.
Japan or whatnot. But I haven't seen it either in TNA. He doesn't look like the heel gimmick would work well for him. He seems too much of a fan favorite and baby face, and it's always a good thing to see that. But um yeah, it's something that I definitely want to see as well. We're gonna get Temple. I'm gonna get to that one in a second. Um, Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate that. That wonderful comment there. Thank you so much, buddy. Um, but let's get to another big one. Let's
Yeah.
get to the women's
Ooh.
title match because, of course, this one had a special guest appearance from your other wife. You've married to two beautiful women out here in the wrestling world, and Wolf's married to another one, of course, Julia Hart. But you with Dana Brooke, now known as Ash by Elegance. I won't make fun of
Yeah.
the name just yet, but nonetheless, we saw her on Thursday. I told you what I felt
Yeah.
in ring wise. Great work. Love the Swanton gimmick, not so much. Felt very
Yeah.
Tony Stormy, felt very Tiffany Stratton, felt very mix of prima donna that I don't know or really feel that she can do to her fullest only because of the fact that I don't see her as that character. I see her more as a tougher type of women's wrestler. So I feel something of those longs of that type of gimmick would suit her better and definitely complement her wrestling style. I wasn't a big fan of the announcer that announces when she comes and she leaves. It kind of reminded me a little of Luther as well, going back to AEW. But she watched the match
Yeah.
and she watched a good one. She picked a good one to watch because, of course, our 2024 WWE Royal Rumble participant and TNA Women's Champion Jordan Grace retains against ex winner Giselle Shaw from that
Yeah.
amazing women's X Division title opportunity match just this past pay per view at Hard to Kill.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace, dominant, fierce, ready to go, style untouched, an absolute juggernaut, like the announcers announced her as a true juggernaut.
Right. Right.
Giselle, though,
Looks good.
put on a show. Kind of like Tiffany Stratton, which we'll get to later, impressed me. I
Yeah.
didn't think Giselle had it in her. I didn't think Giselle had a opportunity to last as long as she did and have a couple of close finishes as well here in the match alone. Some spots, apron spot. Whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, Giselle put her body on the line. Jordan put her body on the line. These two women
Yeah.
went at it. I would love to see these two go at it again. But let's talk about Ash for a minute
Okay.
before we get into the Jordan Grace match, because I know we're only going to be giving it high praise. Ash by Elegance. Like I said
Hmm.
to you before, we talked about her on Thursday before the No Surrender watch along. I said my piece about it. I kind of just reiterated what I said. How did you feel with the fact that she did have a squash match the night before, going into a pay per view, and all she did was just sit at ringside? Do you feel the way that this has happened with the three promos, her showing up at Hard to Kill during the big announcement? Do you believe that this is the right direction that Ash is in for in 2024? Or do you think there's going to be something for her on the horizon? Because, in my opinion, I hope. I would like to see more of her in ring capability. I
Yeah,
want to see her wrestle. But again, I don't want to see her get thrown into more of the matches we saw Thursday and then gifted opportunities to have it squandered because she's just not ready for that yet. But yet being the key word.
yeah.
Talk to me. What do you think?
For me, as much as Ash by Elegance or Dana Brooke fan I am, I'm gonna be very honest. Her in ring work has definitely improved. She definitely came off as very dominant in the ring. Um, and this is a typical thing in wrestling. It's one of those wrestling tropes that I always see when somebody ends up debuting or coming in. They usually typically put them in a squash match, and we've seen it. Like, it's not even just TNA. We've seen it in other
Oh, yeah.
companies where you have them do squash matches for about a month straight until you find them putting in a spot. Hopefully that's not the case with her where we just have to see her squash matches for a month straight. Um the way they've been teasing things, as much as it possibly won't happen, but at the same time it's a possibility. The way they set things up at Hard to Kill, she was in the crowd. What was she watching? She was watching Trinity versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts title, and then she's seen Jordan Grace literally versus Giselle Shaw for the title. The way I see this potentially playing out is she might be the one to possibly take the title from Jordan Grace. I feel like the match could potentially be great. Jordan Grace is very decent wrestler, and I am, even though me personally, in ring capacity, Ash Elegant, she's proven she can be dominant. She proved that she can probably go if given the opportunity to. This could be a potential match because I think as soon as she had her release, they asked her if she were to go, who is somebody. This is literally the day of TNA Hard to Kill. They asked her potentially that she was teasing it, and they asked her because she was doing the whole Q&A thing. And they asked her, who is somebody in TNA you would love to work with if given the opportunity? And the one she pointed out, Jordan Grace. She said, that's the one I want to face. She's a powerhouse just like myself. I feel like me and her can actually put on a great match. We have a lot that we could possibly give if given the opportunity to. I would love to see this possibly happening. But the thing is, I feel like we need to kind of build up to that. I would like to see her kind of go in like on a mean streak, so to speak, where she's racking up wins against some bigger names in that division, like your Tasha Steeles, like your Masha Slamoviches, like your Killer Kellys, like your Zaya Brooksides, like your Giselle Shaws, like those people who have been to the top, like Tasha Steeles, former Knockouts champion, Masha Slamovich, the current tag team champion, and close to becoming a world champion in her own right, former GCW champion. Like, her getting wins over women like that who've been to the top of the mountain would only do wonders for her because now it gives people the sense of, okay, she's beating some big names who have definitely been to the top. Let me see what she can do finally going for that world title. Like, that's
Right.
when we need to. Would I be upset personally if they were to give her the opportunity right now? No, I wouldn't, because I feel like the match is going to be good, but you don't want to book yourself into a corner. It's like, well, Jordan Grace, she might be in a position where she can't lose the title, especially after all this publicity she's been getting after being part of the Rumble. But at the
Yeah.
same time, on the other flip of the coin, we can't have Ash by Elegance lose and seem like a joke coming in, especially if you've been trying to put stock into her and try to make her seem like she's a big deal on TNA. And there's different things you have to look at there. Um, right now, like I think people have pointed this out to me. This past week, she had the most viewed segment. Her match, her debut match, gained the most traction from TNA this past week. That had the most eyes the entire week or the entire show, which was surprising to me because you had other things that were going on. But right now, I feel like
Yeah, Billy
it's one of
Starks
those
was in a
things where
match Thursday as well.
exactly. So
You know,
it's like I would I be upset if she were to get the opportunity? No, but I just don't want to see it be a position to where it feels like they booked themselves in a corner. Now it's going to be a situation where okay, you don't want to rush it. I've seen this happen so many times where people have gotten these moments where it's been rushed. I want to get behind Dana Brooke becoming champion. I want to see her become a champion. She has the opportunity to become a champion. She deserves to become a champion. She's worked hard. She has the best work ethic, in my opinion, amongst some of the women's wrestlers in wrestling right now. She works very hard at her craft to get better. She has the desire and the will and the passion to want to be the best at what she does and want to succeed. But it's putting all that together. Her in-ring work is one thing, was great. Her promos, now this is my thing. I know what you said on TNA. Now, my thing with that, I do feel like comes off as a little bit of Tony Storm-esque because of the Luther thing. My whole thing with that, it's one of those things. It's just she's just now been given this character. I feel like it's one of those things we kind of got to see how it plays out. Maybe it's just because she's very new and the first thing we see and automatically we think. Maybe she's trying to add her own spin on it. Maybe. I feel like the reason why they probably gave her this mouthpiece to begin with is because TNA kind of notices she could be great in the ring, but her promos might not be the best. So what can we do to kind of help her a little bit if she's not the best at promos? Now, this is one of those things where it's always room for improvement as a wrestler. There's always that ceiling where you're gonna have to constantly get better, constantly adapting, constantly evolving your character, your career, your different gimmicks, throughout your career. We only seen her as Dana Brooke, the powerhouse that just flexes all the time. She did a lot of flexing in the WWE. That's all she was decent in the ring. She's never really got that true opportunity, and I'm glad they're giving it to her here. But we need to kind of see a little bit more than just the flexing a little bit. It comes off arrogant and I like that. But at the same time, you don't want things to kind of feel like a little bit of a rehash. You want something new. You want something fresh. You want something exciting, something that can kind of give the fans sink their teeth into. Like, oh, Dana Brooks on. Let me tune in. Oh, she's about to have the match with so and so. Let me tune in. Oh, she's about to compete for the championship. Let me tune in. I like what she's been doing. That's what we want from her. But right now, she's going to have to tweak some things around, in my personal opinion, before we get to that ultimate end goal of her becoming a champion. Because right now, her gear was her decent. She had decent gear, but it doesn't really compare to like her ring gear that she had before coming into TNA because all of her gear came off more organic and different and set herself aside from the other wrestlers that were in the company. But this kind of comes off, like you said, more as a Tiffany Stratton type of attire, in my personal opinion. Like the whole her mouthpiece, I mean, he comes off annoying. Like you literally said, "Oh, welcome her," and then okay, that's cool. But then you come back right after the commercial break and said, "Ash by Elegance has left the building." Like, no, like, come on, man. Like, I get it, but at that point, it feels like you're kind of just rubbing it in people's faces. You're kind of forcing it, and that's not. And that's probably why people are not really gonna like her because it feels like as much as talent she might bring, but her presence is kind of what can kill her because the guys being annoying and kind of feeling like they're shoving her down everybody's throats, and that's only going to make things worse because people are going to potentially turn on her and boo her. We kind of seen that already. Yes, she got a few cheers, but when she was in the ring, to me, it was dead silent. People really didn't care. So now you're in a situation where you have to kind of give her an opportunity to get people invested in what she's doing.
Right. My thing is this. I think that she has the capability of being a champion, especially in TNA, maybe then an AEW or um, a WWE setting because of she has talent. There is talent with her. But this character hurts her talent. The character she's portraying hurts her talent.
Yeah.
I don't I can't um get behind this drama queen. I can't
I
get
can't.
behind
And it was
this
something else I forgot too. I
this
mentioned.
person that's
Yeah.
just needing a mouthpiece. Like, I understand that she may need work on her promos, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
then have her work with people that are in TNA that are good at making promos. So that
Yeah.
way she can learn how to make promos. If
Because
the goal for Dana is to be at some point or another TNA champion,
she's gonna have to
then
learn how to do
cool.
promos.
Right. But cool as long as she's given the opportunity to be her. And I don't think this is her. I
To an
think this is
extent,
what
maybe.
maybe, but I don't think wrestling wise this
Yeah.
is her. I think she doesn't wrestle like a queen. She's not wrestling with the
She seems
front
like a
flips and
daredevil.
cartwheels and like look at me, look at me.
She
I
comes
mean,
across
when
like a
she's doing
daredevil, yeah.
submissions, she's like posing and shit, and it's like, okay, no, like just wrestle strong, and she's a strong wrestler, and that's good. I think that's very good for her. But again, it's the character that she portrays outside of this ring is hurting her in-ring ability. And if
Yeah.
you're hurting her in-ring ability outside, fans of myself who want to like her as much as you do, who love Dana Brooke, and no matter what she does, will always have her back, then okay. But if
Yeah.
you're hurting her already prior to her being in the ring, it
Because like you
hurts then
said,
the in-ring ability. She
yeah,
needs to drop this whole queen character,
kind of come up with
come
something different,
in
yeah.
strong. Come in
Because
strong.
like you said, like there are people there that can help her. Like you have Gail Kim, you have Tommy Dreamer. Like both are great. They might not be like A+ level on the promos, but they're at least enjoyable enough to get people to care about what she's doing. I'm pretty sure, like you behind the backstage and stuff, like behind the scenes, they could be working with her, kind of helping her to get to where they want her to be. Because if she's gonna becoming a world champion, she's gonna have to be able to go on the microphone because you have people there that can go on the microphone. If you have
Yeah.
somebody doing the talking for you, it's not gonna do so well for you. I'm sorry. And another
Yeah.
thing that we've talked about here is literally her. It doesn't seem like it's her. Maybe to an extent, yes. If you look at how she is like on social media, right? She's always talking about, being better. She seems coming off as this positive person. She's even talked about in previous interviews that she's done before, like as soon as she signed to TNA, it's like the way she wanted to be presented, she kind of wanted to do a lot of the daredevil spots. Like she wanted to do a spot in Money in the Bank one time where she was hanging from the briefcase and actually did like a swanton from the briefcase onto the women that were involved in the match. Like she comes off to me as somebody that could be a potential daredevil in the women's division. That's not a bad character compared to what we have now. Like the one that's willing to take risks and do whatever it takes to get to where she wants to be, putting her body on the line. This is not nothing new to her because she has a gymnastic background where she's done some more crazier things. And Timber Place has a great point. Dana Brooke needs to be that monster in the women's division. They need to be booking her like a monster in the women's division. She has the
That's
physical
exactly what I'm saying.
appearance and the physical presence to be a monster in the women's division, like Jordan Grace is. Like, they have that right there. You literally have that right there. You can have her go on this tear where she's going and climbing through the ranks with other women and beating them, cementing herself as a top tier talent, cementing herself as A plus player in TNA. She has that opportunity right now. And if I'm her, I'm going to be willing to go all in. Going, like, we see how hard she works, how hard she wants for the performance, how hungry she is for the performance. But right now, she needs to kind of step it up a little bit more. Like we said earlier, if she were to, like, we seen her have this squash match. Me personally, I know as much as we like PCO here, they could have added an Ash by Elegance match in place of that and have her face somebody like a Zaya Brookside. You could have done that. You could have literally
I wonder
had
who
that
told
right
you
there.
that name.
You did.
I
And
don't know.
literally,
I don't
and
know
she
what I'm
even
doing
said
over
it.
here, but yeah, maybe.
She even said it, like, she wants to work with Zaya Brookside in a feud. She even said that there's history there because literally um when Dana first got signed to WWE, who was there training right along them in like 2013? Zaya Lee. Zaya Brookside was pretty. I want to say Zaya Lee. I mean Zaya Brookside. Sorry, I got the name. So many people
It's so many
different.
Zayas.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Zaya
Damn you,
Brookside
Zayas.
was right there, kind of training alongside your Charlottes and your Beckys and your Danas and your Baileys and your Sashas. She was alongside with them, and I really feel like you can have, you know, this almost teacher versus student storyline. You can
Yeah.
have a situation where maybe you have, Ash by Elegance take Zaya Brookside under her ring,
Yeah.
kind of show her stuff like this, and you can build to an opportunity. Maybe you can have a teacher versus student feud where maybe depending on where they decide to have it, maybe
Hmm.
by then Ash by Elegance is a champion. She's
Right.
a champion possibly, and you have a Zaya Brookside want to prove herself, and her being a heel at this point, and Ash by Elegance being a heel, you can have her downplay and bring up their history, and you can actually create a huge feud there. You could create a new star and Zaya Brookside being that underdog babyface in TNA. She's somebody that I think we've seen glimpses of it. She was in NXT UK. She was somebody that I wanted to see win that NXT UK title and was almost there. She had these matches and opportunities to get there, but seemed as close as she got, they brought her right back down, and it made the story ultimately getting her to that level. And that's what I was excited for. And now her being in TNA, and she's still relatively very young. This is somebody that you can really build your women's division around in the next 5 years.
Good.
And it starts now.
It could be. It could be. But let's wrap it up with Jordan Grace and Giselle Shaw because we have one more match before we take a quick commercial break. I don't want to keep you too long. Plus, I know we have a lot to talk about with WWE, so I want everybody to have enough time to hear all of our expertise. I'll call it, even though we're not experts at anything except complaining and bitching on the internet. I think that's a perfect expertise for everybody. But yes, let's get to, of course, what did you think of the Jordan Grace Giselle Shaw match? This is another one of those 5 out of 5 matches for me. Like I said to you before, Jordan Grace put on a hell of a performance, showed exactly why they made her TNA champion, why she is a juggernaut. And Giselle Shaw impressed me more than anything. And I think that it was absolutely fantastic to have her be a part of this moment here. So this is definitely something I am looking forward to seeing. I hope we get to see this match happen again, even if it's not for a title. Just give me this match again just like Josh Alexander and Simon Gotch, we
Hmm.
need one more. So
Yeah.
talk to me. What did you think of Giselle and Jordan?
I mean, Giselle, she's been there for quite some time. I think the first match that I remember seeing from her in TNA was her versus Mickey James. And I think that was
Hmm.
actually I think that was at a Rebellion, I think a while back. And I think I seen that match and that got me glued to Giselle Shaw as a wrestler. I think she's definitely one of those women in the division that kind of gets slept on a lot of the times when you have weren't at the time as stacked as it was, but now she has an opportunity with kind of how the roster is right now. She can be a very well a standout for that women's division, and I feel like time will tell where they what they do with her. I know she kind of is on her own now, kind of getting rid of Savannah Evans and everything else going on. So maybe it's one of those things that timing is a kind of plays a factor. But I really feel like she's definitely gonna don't sleep on her. I feel like it's not I see her possibly getting another title opportunity in the near future. Um she's definitely proven to me that she has all the tools to be a legit main eventer in TNA. The match was great from start to finish. I think it was a very solid, hard hitting, straight to the point type of match. Like we said earlier, Ash by Elegance was in attendance. She was watching ringside. That kind of gives me reason to kind of feel like they're teasing something long term, possibly with her and Jordan Grace down the line. Exactly. Eric said it. Zaya Brookside is only 25. She's only 25 years old, so she has a lot. And Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he called it. I'm better than you, and you know it. He knows what he's talking about, and
Thank you
indeed,
so
I
much,
agree with
Max.
you on that.
Appreciate you
On that.
showing
On
support
that.
on. Listen, I know. Listen, I'm gonna take a quick little side tangent for a quick second. I'll only take about 10 seconds. MGF knows. Okay, he knows where the greatest fucking podcast in Long Island is, and it's right here at Last Week of Wrestling podcast. Because guess what? Being next door neighbors with him, it's only been a goddamn blessing, and it's amazing, amazing feature that I get to flex over here. Is it real? No, but in my kayfabe story here on the podcast, he's my fucking next door neighbor. But yes, no, I agree with all the points that you said with Joanne, Jody, Grace, and Giselle Shaw. Amazing match, amazing moments. Women put their bodies on the line. Crazy, crazy spots on the outside, not once but twice in that matchup. They put on a goddamn slobber knocker, as JR would say.
Yep.
I definitely want to see these two go at it again, at least one more time. Please to God, you like Simon Gotch and Josh Alexander. Let's get it happening. Let's get it going. But let's get to the big match, buddy, because this was the match that we're gonna be talking about for years,
Oh,
for
absolutely.
years to come, and we are talking about Mustafa Ali. In
Yes, sir.
Ali we trust. I want to get that right now in the chat. I want to hear everybody say, in Ali we trust right now. Type it in the chat. Please, 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 because in Ali we trust. And I tell you that now. Main event Mustafa. I like that too, Wolf. Main event Mustafa in Ali we trust. This match,
Whew.
wow.
Instant classic.
Wow. This compared to the Osprey match in New Japan, the Nick Nemeth match in New Japan.
Hmm.
Right now, it's going to be really hard to pick match of the year in the singles division
Tag
because
team, yeah.
Mustafa has one in the making with this one. Chris Sabin, 10-time X Division champion since 2003.
Hmm.
2003. We're talking over a 10-year span of multiple X Division title runs as champion. And then this guy from the WWE who didn't get no shot in hell who was supposed to be our NXT North American champion,
World
but was
champion.
let go the day before the damn match.
How? How did they do that?
Said, you know
Why?
what,
Why?
WWE, we're gonna make you regret that one. Because now we're on the Ali tour. And I tell you now, this tour is just getting better and better. He's coming out here to House of Glory to face none other than ex World TNA champion Alex Shelley here at House of Glory next Saturday, the Saturday before Revolution. I'll be watching it in North Carolina since I'll be hanging out with another great podcast family, No Bones About Wrestling. Check them out. Please do. Great people. Asa and Kay, love them to death. Unbelievable. 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 That's only word I can say.
About this match, yeah.
This is a 10 out of 10.
Easily.
This is a 10.
Easily.
This was the best X Division match
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
And
For
yeah,
sure.
I
Talk to me.
mean,
Talk to me.
this match was great from start to finish. An instant classic match. The fact that you literally, it shows how much they really value, you know, Mustafa Ali. And like you said, he didn't never really get the opportunity that we all wanted him to in the company. Like there have been stop and start pushes throughout his career from he was supposed to be headlining against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. He got injured. They were going to put the Money in the Bank contract on him, but as soon as Lesnar shows up, he gets the briefcase. Like I wasn't a big fan of that. I still stand by that. That should have been his night. That should have been them kind of getting able to get him back in the swing of things. And like you said, it was a stupid mistake and decision on their part to release the guy a day before he was going to compete for the North American Championship. And they're literally already making WWE regret that because they shown how big of a star he can be. And he went out there and laid it all on line. I love this whole president type of character that he has. It makes him stand out amongst a lot of the wrestlers all over the world. It makes him stand out. And that's a good thing when you have a character like that that stands out, because if you don't have a character that stands out, you get lost in the shuffle. And that's been so many times. But like for him, and it showed they had a lot of faith in his ability to have him and Chris Sabin, like you said, a 10-time X Division champion, the guy who's a staple for that championship. When you think of the X Division championship, you think of Chris Sabin. That's what you should be saying. And then the fact, like you were saying, and to expand upon that, they had so much faith in his ability to storytell, his in-ring work. But not only that, but think about this. You had him main event. You had that match main event over Alex Shelley and Moose for the world title. The last time you had the X
And
Division
Jordan
championship,
Grace.
and
And Jordan Grace, who was just in the WWE
here's another fact.
2024 Royal Rumble.
Here's another fact. The last time the X Division championship main evented goes all the way back to 2005.
Damn.
And the
Making
fact
history,
that,
TNA.
like the fact that almost a literally over a decade later, you have them main event, that shows you this guy has world title written all over him, and it sucked so much that WWE cannot realize that, and they are going to regret it because they're going to make a big star out of him in TNA. Because now, like, think about this. Now that he's champion, look at the matches we can have. Him versus Josh Alexander, if he wants to go for that championship, amazing. Him versus Simon Gotch, amazing. If you want to put him in a David versus Goliath storyline, have him go up against Moose, hey, all for it. If you want Alex Hammerstone to come in to do this match, go do a match with him, go for it. I'm all for it. Him versus versus Knight, Kenny Knight, go for it. Him versus Kushida, all for it. All matches that I would love to see during his reign. Another, I think, even honestly, he deserve him versus Nick Nemeth. Him versus Nick Nemeth for that title would be interesting. Both have the same type of feel when I look at them. Very underrated. Don't get the credit that they deserve. Very underappreciated when it comes to a lot of the wrestlers. And definitely can go in the ring, especially at the age that they're operating at. Chris Sabin included, at the age that they're at, and they're still performing at a high caliber level. Like, come on now. You guys cannot tell me this guy is not world title material. For
Yeah.
everybody that were saying for years that he is not world championship material, that he doesn't deserve a main event spot, go watch this match and come back to this stream and tell me if this guy does not deserve to be a world champion. Because that match should have given you everything you need to know. If you were been a hater for years on Mustafa Ali, wake up, because he's proven that he is that guy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I tell you this now. Chris Sabin is fantastic. Love what he's done for TNA. Love what he has given to TNA. Love the work ethic that he has brought to TNA's X division itself as a whole. But this match alone,
Instant classic match of the year.
instant
Candidate.
classic match of the year. I mean, you have Moose's match, which was great. Alex
Grace's
Shelley,
match was great.
the Alexander Gotch match, the Jordan match, this Grizzled Young Vets, ABC. I mean,
A
come
lot of
on.
matches, a lot of banger after banger after banger. But when it comes down to it, this one took the cake
Rascals
for
and
me.
Jet Setters.
This one
That's
took the cake for me.
5. No Surrender, I think, truthfully, might just be the better pay-per-view between Hard to Kill and No Surrender. It might have been. The only thing I wish it had was the Ash by Elegance match that we wanted to see, or a match with Ash by Elegance, even if it was in the 0-hour card, and something with Joe Hendry and AJ Francis. I'm not
Yeah,
a huge fan of AJ Francis's work, and everything, but the story that they're telling,
yeah, it's
and
there.
it's very funny. It's very relatable. Here comes this cocky, arrogant,
And he's
everybody
getting
loves this guy.
roasted.
Yeah, and AJ's just trying to fit
Like,
in, trying to make a name for himself. And you
like,
just see this you know, absolute debauchery just
yeah,
being taken down a peg after peg after
with that
doing
song,
the top dollar gimmick, talking that he can't play football, that he's the Cheez It champion, just make he can't rap. It's just so
many
relatable to the
shots.
new guy in the group. And I want AJ to succeed. I want AJ to get a win. I want AJ to do well, especially with the way they booked him in WWE.
Yeah,
I need him to be booked better in TNA. I don't want him to
to
feel
be a
like he
jobber. No,
doesn't belong anywhere. Yeah, I
because
want
like,
it to happen. So it needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. And I hope we get something with Joe Hendry and AJ Francis going into the Bayou battle, or even Sacrifice, hell, Rebellion. But we need Joe Hendry on
we
our
need it
screen, and we need it now, because
exactly
if we don't
because
get it, I'm rioting.
yeah,
I'm
because it's
rioting.
like you look at it and like you said, they've been building this story, and it's been funny seeing Joey roast AJ Francis and come up with the song said
Roast them.
and then saying you are banned from diving. That
Yeah.
literally had me laughing the entire
Bam.
time. I it,
How do you
And now not
ban
even that,
somebody like that?
but not even that. Not only the story that you have with him, but the possibility of an additional story, like almost like side story with him and Rich Swann, where it looks like he's trying to recruit Rich Swann to be part of his
Yeah, to help
whatever he's
him.
doing. And
Yeah.
it looks like it's I wouldn't be surprised if Rich Swann ends up turning heel, aligning himself with AJ Francis, and them go on a tag team hunt, going after those tag team titles.
Yeah. I need to see Joe Hendry on my screen ASAP. I need to see Rich Swann on my screen again ASAP. Um, it just needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. And I know we have so much more to talk about today. I know I see Judas in the lobby and everything. I'm waiting for his partner so that way we could bring up them for, of course, the Elimination Chamber talk. We're gonna cut to a quick commercial in just a second, but I want to say this before we end the No Surrender portion of the show. If you haven't watched No Surrender, watch it.
Please go watch it.
Watch it
You guys will
from
be excited.
beginning to end. Go watch the pre-show match between the Rascals and the Jet Setters. Go through the PCO match like we did. Yeah, it might not be everything that it's cracked up to be or could have been. That's fine. MK Ultra match, as much as we wanted a story behind it, as much as we wanted more to actually happen for these ladies, to let them have a lot more time. Like I said, about a total of 8 extra minutes that they had on Hard to Kill is great. I'm so happy that they got it. The hot potato passing of the belt thing, not a fan. I rather them
Mm-mm.
give it to either MK and have Decay come back after being away for so long and fight for that victory to get a nice reign down the road. But for now, it is what it is. I hope they work on that story going into Sacrifice. But let us cut to a quick commercial break, and we're going to bring up, of course, the guys who just finished an amazing interview over on their show, Wrestling Bros, Big Baby Ben, and of course Judas Black. We're going to have them up while we're talking about all things Elimination Chamber. No Surrender, in my opinion, was the better pay-per-view out of Hard to Kill in that. And this one, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 as well. But we'll see you guys in just a few moments. And then we'll have, of course, Big Baby Ben and Judas Black for Elimination Chamber. Leo, grab a glass of water, stretch out your lungs. I know you got a
Hot
lot to
water right
talk
here.
about on this one. So let's get right into it. All right. We'll see everybody in just 30 seconds.
Traveling to a restrictive country with internet censorship? If you want to access your country's websites and content you love securely, a VPN is the answer. With just a few clicks, NordVPN changes your virtual location. You can enjoy your favorite websites and services securely, as if you're home. Choose from over 5,000 servers in 60 countries and surf the internet with no restrictions.
All righty, there they are.
Yeah.
Kings of
Yay.
Davenport, my guys. And of course, they came for the perfect time. It's a perfect show to be a part of. They just had an amazing interview that you need to go check out over on their channel that they just wrapped up. But of course, they're back over to the greatest podcast of Long Island. That's what MJF says. Don't kill me, kill the messenger. All right. Of course, we are talking about the other big wrestling weekend moment, which is none other than Elimination Chamber. I know myself, Leo, Judas, Ben, we were there. We were live. We were in action. We were up way too goddamn early in the morning. We watched way too much of a crazy showing. It was a wild event. Unfortunately, some people we wanted to win didn't happen. We had some very exciting moments. Some stars really broke out in the Elimination Chamber matches for sure. Let's get right into it, guys. We're not even going to wait to get into this topic, Leo. And of course, that means we're putting you on the damn big screen. It is the Women's Chamber. I know your heart has been crumpled up like a dirty note in class and thrown away
We've
and
all
you
been
feel
waiting.
yeah, listen, I know
Um,
you've been very upset, you've been very vocal about it, and
Time to shine.
you know, I understand the
agreed.
frustrations. I
Yeah.
understand the upsettingment that has settled in. I understand that, you know, in my opinion too, there was a better story to be told for Rhea and Liv, and WrestleMania would have been a great moment. But unfortunately, Becky did come out victorious, pinning your wife, which now I guess is going to be ex-wife, because I know there was a rule if she lost the chamber, you were divorcing her. So I guess now ex Morgan Leo will have to call him now. But my guy, talk to
Wow.
me. Talk to me. Let us know how you're holding up. The world wants to know. And of course, let's get into
I-
it. What did you think of the women's chamber, and how are you holding up?
for me personally, I mean, the match was okay. The ending, my problem was the ending. I would say I look at the ending. I feel like it was very well rushed. I feel like they didn't really. I feel maybe it was could have been a time issue. Like they kind of ran out of time. That's probably why it could have happened. But for me personally, I don't want people to think I hate Becky. I don't hate Becky. She's one of the very best for a reason. I understand why she won on in a grand scheme on from a business standpoint because she has her book coming out. They kind of want to sell that. I understand that, but at the same time, I feel like at the same time, I gotta put it out there. It didn't necessarily need to happen, in my personal opinion. She did not need to win the chamber. You could, if you wanted her to have her be a part of this match with Rhea, they could have done something else. Me personally, I still stand on the fence that they could have had her feud with Nia Jax going into Mania because that's where her real feud is because she needs to get her win back with Nia, in my personal opinion. And I feel like if you do have Rhea and Becky one on one, I don't see them putting the title on Becky. I really don't. Because if they do that, it's a slap in the face because it's like you're kind of burying your younger talent who you need to be building and giving these necessary wins to establish them as the characters of the future, the people of the future. Liv is somebody that I can see in that conversation. Now, as much as people, I will say this, I am a fan of her, and a criticism is where it's needed. Uh, I will say WrestleMania is where stories should finish. It should be all about the story. Is there cases where it's all about money? Yes. There's we was about to get Rock and Roman. It was because of the money. That's the biggest match you can put on at WrestleMania. Period. Point blank. That's going to get the mainstream people tuning in. If people haven't watched wrestling in years to hear about Rock possibly wrestling, they're going to automatically tune in to see what he's doing. If they say, "Oh, he's about to fight his cousin," oh, I'm tuning in. That's why you've seen so many people tune in and got the viewers that it did because people know who The Rock is. Whether if his movies are trash, that's on a different spectrum, but that's meant to be seen. But when it comes down to what he can bring, he brings viewership, he brings ratings, he brings traction, and he brings in new viewers. Becky is somewhat in the situation and somewhat to an extent. She is one of the four horsemen. She's done it all. She's pretty and people have been kind of giving her a lot of heat because of they feel like she's not putting over younger talent. Go back to her NXT run. She put over Tiffany Stratton to where she is now. Do you think people really would know who Tiffany Stratton if she didn't have that feud with Becky? No. Xia Li, she's pretty much not even seen on TV, got her best match of her career because of Becky. She put Lyra Valkyrie over as NXT Women's Champion. She's literally done that. So as much as people kind of don't like her, you kind of got to give her flowers where credit is due. Now, do I think that they could have given Liv the win here? I do, and we got to take a factor is look at what's happening right now. I kind of called this. There were going to be some kind of backlash and fallout if they didn't give Liv the win. And shockingly, that was the case because soon as that pay-per-view's over, we want Liv started trending. And right now, it's literally still trending. as we speak. Last night, before I went to bed, it was the number one trending thing. And it's still trending. Now, will that play a factor in what we see in what we see as we're going into Mania? Because think about it, there's still like 40 days for Mania. Could they actually add her in? Possibly. We will have to see. But this is where my people might get a little shocked about what I'm about to say. As much as a Liv fan I am, she's not at that main event WrestleMania level just yet.
What? What?
Um,
You're gonna have to say that again. I don't think everybody heard you. I don't
Liv,
think everybody heard you. I don't think everybody heard you. You're
Liv
gonna have to say that one more time.
Liv Morgan is good. She is definitely great. She has the potential to be a main eventer. She has proven she's a main eventer, but not at a big for pay-per-view level yet. She's not at a WrestleMania level just yet. She's not. If you put that match on WrestleMania 1-on-1, the story is there. But let's be honest, are you really going to have that be a main event closer when you have Cody versus Drew, when you have the potential of Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth, when you have Bayley versus Io in the mix? No. If they put this on any A-level pay-per-view like your Rumbles, your Survivor Series, your Manias, your SummerSlams, this is not going to be a match you're going to put as the main event. At best, it can be a co-main event. Right now, if you put this on WrestleMania right now, this is going to be a match you open the show with or have in the middle of the show. As much as it sucks as a Liv Morgan fan, it's the truth. She's not at a WrestleMania main event level just yet. If you want her to be a main event of pay-per-view, you can. You have Backlash. I know this is not a pay-per-view. You had TLC. You have other pay-per-views where she can main event. Right now, if you were to rank her as far as a lot of the women, she's not at the A level yet. Right now, she comes off as a B level wrestler. And it sucks. It sucks, man. I'm literally taking my personal vendetta out of it. I'm not really going to be biased. She's not there yet. Right now, if you look at it, there's some improvement that needs to be made with her. There does. She kind of needs to turn heel and go on a mean streak, because right now she proved the first thing I've seen with her, as good as she is, she hasn't proved that when she's in these matches she belongs. It seems like she's there to get packed up. She literally got packed up by Asuka and Natalya of all people, and got double teamed and sent to the gulags last year. She literally did. And if she faces Rhea Ripley, she's gonna have to have an edge to her. If she's this bubbly babyface, I'm telling you now, she's probably gonna destroy Liv Morgan. She's probably gonna try to destroy her. She's going to eat her alive. I'm not kidding. She's going to be a big star. Don't get me wrong, but she needs to change the things up with first. Her Oblivion needs to change. That move is not believable if you're going to put away someone like a Becky Lynch or a Charlotte or a Bayley or a Rhea. It's not believable. It's not a believable finisher for me. It's not. She needs to kind of tweak some things up in her moveset. Her character is going in the right direction, but she needs to turn heel. She needs to kind of be taken more serious in the eyes of fans, because if she just comes off and just goes in there and just starts dancing and kind of just feeling it, just happy to be there, no, she can't no longer be happy to be there. She needs to prove why she is that woman. And right now, it showed to me that right now, WWE don't have faith in her as a WrestleMania main event caliber talent yet. They literally had to have her roll up Bianca. That showed that they don't have enough confidence in her to pin someone like a Bianca clean. Do I hate the ending? Yes, because I feel like the ending was not the best way of going about it. They could have just given more time and kind of built that story, because there's a story there too. But like Eric just said, Liv needs that killer instinct. That's something that she's lacking. She's lacking a killer instinct. She's lacking that She's just happy to be there. She needs to kind of be more like how Becky was when she kind of became the man character, where she was just kind of in the same situation. When she kind of transitioned into the man gimmick, she became something totally different. If Liv goes heel and finally shows something that haven't been shown yet, I'm all for it. But as it stands right now, she's not main event level yet. She's not going to be main event a WrestleMania. You're not going to put on a Royal Rumble as a main event match. You're not going to do it at SummerSlam. You probably won't even do it at Money in the Bank, even though Money in the Bank is not seen as that type of pay-per-view. But still, she's not there yet.
What did you do with Leo?
I know. What the hell?
That wasn't the Leo that we saw Saturday.
Is it because of the divorce?
I think it's because of the divorce. She took a lot.
Are you trying to separate yourself from her
hell?
so it's easier on you?
Somebody poisoned the water hole.
Yeah. I mean, wow.
Yeah,
The
I feel
character development in the past 48 hours is real. Wow. You were going from straight heel, crybaby, heel, whatever you want to call it, to now seeing the light. Honestly, we all got to give you a round of applause. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless.
But I do think she's gonna get a moment. I think people need to be more patient with things. Like, I get it. They want to see Liv in this position, and so do I. Judas is the same way. I think we all kind of want to see Liv get a moment. It's just, how do you go about it? The situation needs to make sense, right? Because if you look at right now what they're doing with Rhea, she's gonna turn face eventually. Now, imagine if you do decide to have the roles be reversed. Somebody made a point. Backlash it would be a great way to kind of have that feud happen and that match happen, because Liv is going to want Backlash on Rhea Ripley. It sells itself. Another caveat you can add: Rhea Ripley joined the Judgment Day at Backlash in 2022. Right after she turned on Liv, she joined at Backlash. Now think about, it's the same place she loses the title. A whole full circle moment where it started for her is where it ends for her. That's where you can really have, and honestly, if you want to do something with her, I know people kind of been throwing this idea around, if you put her in a tag team match and have her go back to Raquel, she can turn on her at that exact show. I would think this is a great idea. But what we've seen, the way it kind of seemed like a screwy finish with how Liv kind of got lost, I wouldn't be surprised if you had did this. This might be me fantasy booking a little bit. What if Liv is the reason Becky doesn't win at Mania? What if she interjects herself, costing her that match, and coming out of Mania, we get the start of the rise of Liv Morgan going into the main event scene, going in her first feud with Becky Lynch, costing her the championship. And this doesn't even need to be a title match. You can have this be non-title. Not every match needs to have the title to be involved. Becky Lynch can actually go with a lot of the women. She can actually help Liv get to that level and kind of give her the tools necessary, because she can help her put on a great match and carry her to what a good match can be. You look at what Becky's done in the division. Like, Liv is definitely going to be a future wrestler. A future main event level talent. Do not get me wrong. She's still relatively young. She's only 29, you guys. She's only 29. There's still a lot left in the tank. The only thing right now that she has a problem with is she's going to have to make sure she's not going to be injury prone. She cannot be injury prone, because that is what cost her. Because I feel like the way they were going with things last year,
Thanks, Oscar.
if she didn't get injured, I really feel like what they were setting things up for, they were going to do Rhea and Liv at SummerSlam. They were setting things up for them two at SummerSlam. I really feel like this is what's going to happen. You could, if you want to add her in there to have her to be part of that match, fine, because I feel like the fan backers might play a little bit of a point here. I mean, we never know. I don't think it could happen. It can't happen. We will see. We'll have to see how things play out on television. But I do think for sure she's gonna be turning heel by Mania, and she's gonna be something to look out for because now she's more serious, a new gimmick, a new presence, probably a new move set, a possible finisher, something new for her. It's something different for everybody. And if you think about it, if you have her in that main event, that Mania match, and she loses, then what? And if she takes the pin, then what? What was the point of building this story up then? If you have her and if you put her in that triple threat and have her lose, the only way you can continue this feud possibly is if she pinned Becky and then Liv makes a caveat like, well, I didn't get pinned, and then you could set things up for possibly a match between them, a singles capacity match at Backlash. That's if they want to do that. But at some point this year, don't be surprised if you see Liv Morgan with a world title around her waist.
I don't know what the hell to say, Leo. Holy
I got nothing. I got nothing.
I'm left speechless.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I mean, this isn't the Leo we saw
No.
who was absolutely distraught, ranting and raving and screaming, "Fuck the WWE!"
Match. You're over here.
I'm still pissed about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still pissed about it.
Full 360.
Hey, do not get me wrong. I don't want people thinking like because of what I said, I'm not pissed about the match. Of course, I'm still pissed about the match. I wanted Liv Morgan to win. Of course, I did. I was probably one of the main people that was pulling for the match, because I like my thing with this, and I've said this before. Predictability in wrestling, it can be good and bad. It depends on how you look at it. Sometimes things they go with the safe option and what makes the most sense. If you can have the story with Liv and Rhea, but it comes down to, is that match going to put butts in seats at the end of the day? Is that match really going to draw a lot of people at Mania? Granted, the Mania show has pretty much already been sold out, but still, you want to, and especially with WrestleMania 40 being this big thing, and they want to make this a big thing. Like they kind of do this every year with WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30, and now WrestleMania 40. They're going to make these big deals. They're going to try to make these monumental WrestleManias that people go back to and think of as the greatest of all time. Now, there have been some caveats that people have been made, and I will agree with them. If you look back at WrestleMania 20, there was some matches that were supposed to be 1-on-1, but then you had people get added. I mean, when we look at the world title match that took place at WrestleMania 20, CB, I'm not going to say his full name, he got added, and he ended up winning. WrestleMania 30, you had Bryan Danielson get introduced with Triple H, and then the whole authority thing, and then get added to Randy Orton and Batista. It was supposed to be Randy and Batista, but people didn't want it. Now look at WrestleMania 40. You could make a case for Liv to potentially be added. But the thing is, how do they book it? Now, I did say this earlier, and I've shared this with Dylan. This probably going to be new to Judas and Ben. I've thrown this idea around. Maybe on Raw tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to attack Becky based off what happened last night and kind of how things kind of ended.
Totally.
I wouldn't be surprised if she fully goes heel, even though in my eyes and Dylan's eyes, she's already healed the way since she's came back. She's pretty much been showing very much heel tendencies since she's came back. Don't be surprised if she literally tries to attack and injure Becky tomorrow night on Raw, and then it gets to the point where Rhea has enough, and she goes to Adam Pearce, and she says, I want to prove and silence everybody, and she says, put Liv in this match. There's still ways. Think about it. WrestleMania is still a long ways off, you guys. There's still an opportunity for her to potentially get added. So just because she didn't win the Rumble and didn't win Chamber, as much as I would like to see her win those opportunities, there is still a way to get her involved in the mix. There's still time to develop everything. There's 40 days until WrestleMania. And people, it doesn't take a lot to get people to become a star. People can become a star within a month. It does not take a lot. It comes down to booking, consistency, in-ring aspect, promos. All things that make or break a wrestler. She's good in the ring. Her attire kind of needs to change up. I like her attire. I would like to see a little bit of things differently with her. Her promos kind of need to be tweaked a little bit to become more serious. It seems like when she comes off in these promos, I can see the seriousness, but at the same time, I feel like she's hesitating. I feel like to an extent, I feel like she's kind of holding back, and I don't want to see her hold back. I want these wrestlers to kind of go out there and let it all out. Let it all out how you feel. How you feel about where you are in your career and where you feel like you need to go. And it helps build a story. I feel like her promos can need some tweaking. Her in-ring is decent, but some things need to be tweaked. Her finisher, the Oblivion, needs to be tweaked. You got to bring something else in because I can't, as much as I like the Oblivion, at the same time, it's not believable to put away a big name like a Rhea Ripley, a Becky Lynch, definitely not a Charlotte Flair. You're gonna have to kind of come up with something different. Maybe add some submissions into her move set. I think would be kind of interesting. She's kind of used it before in her match with Becky at day one. She used a Rings of Saturn. I would like to see that kind of get used a little bit more frequently to see how that kind of plays up into her character, especially now being a heel. And not only just her being a heel, but what type of character will she be as a heel? Will she be a generic heel? Will she be a ego heel? Will she be type the heel that everybody likes to hate? Will she type to be the heel that's sneaky? Like there's different types of heels as a wrestler. So which heel is she going to play? That is the one that I'm going to be more intrigued on coming out of Mania if she's heel by then, or even if she turns on Monday Night Raw and possibly gets interjected into this title match with Becky and Rhea. What is going to change about her? And if she becomes champion, here's one thing that you got to think about. When you become a champion, no matter how you put it, things have to change. You cannot be the same. You cannot be the same character that you have been before. Things have to change. The way you carry yourself as a champion has to change. The way you look at the competition has to change. The way you present yourself in these matches have to change. If she's going to be a champion, the thing when somebody becomes a champion, it lets the company know when somebody's a champion, that's a way of telling us that this is the guy or girl that we're backing and have a lot of stock in. Right now, as it stands, she's pretty much in a Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler type of position in WWE right now. They can be good, but don't really have what it really takes to be at that main event caliber level at that point in time. Can she get there? Absolutely. Anybody can be at a main event talent, but it's up to the company if they really see that in her. And have they shown that she can be there? Yeah, absolutely. With this whole movement, I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of plays a factor in what we see in television going forward as far as plans being changed up with Rhea and everything like that. Liv, I mean, like we said earlier, she's going to be something we'll look out for. Not only because of what's being played out on social media and her being trending, but even when she had the whole situation when she had got arrested a while back, WWE even said it themselves. There's no bad blood or heat with her and Liv Morgan. They even went to the sentiment themselves and said and claimed this. They have plans in place for Liv Morgan and have her being in a high profile, big storyline going into Mania. Could this be her being in the match? Absolutely. Could it be potentially being something else in a singles capacity? Absolutely. But only time will tell you guys. So you just might have to be patient. Do I think she's going to get a moment? Absolutely. Could it come this year? Absolutely. Honestly, if you wanted to build this whole year to build her up and at Royal Rumble next year, have her win the Rumble, I'm all for it. Because now you had her go through a lot of big names this whole year in building her as a character, as a wrestler, everything. You just gotta be patient. Her time is coming, you guys. I guarantee you.
Absolutely. Alrighty. So Judas and Big Baby Ben. On that note, you know what's funny, and I'll share a little backstage stuff with everybody. I was joking around with Leo before, and I was like, I guarantee you I'm gonna get like 20, 30, 45 minutes out of you. That was a good 30-ish minutes right there. And it was great. Honestly, you have shocked the shit out of me. I did not expect this as a response. I expected what we all saw of you on Saturday morning. Honestly, this and I mean this, and I'm happy we're live, so I can say this to your face. Is you have definitely matured these past 24, 48 hours. I don't know if there's just no more tears to cry. I don't know if she just took everything in the divorce. Whatever the case is,
I got left with nothing.
You got left with nothing. No more nookie. You know, like you're very
I got
sad.
left with a bag of chips. Okay.
Yeah, listen. Whatever it is, like Chris said, like Eric said, great character change. I love it. I hope that you start seeing things from two different perspectives going forward now. And again, and listen, we're fans first. Forget the content creation for a second. We're fans first. You know what I mean? We will love to root for the person if they get screwed, if they get cheated, if they get injured, if they get let go, whoever, whatever it is, we will always be upset. The emotions will always play into what we say initially, automatically off the bat, before we sit down. Oh, please, no more ranting. And
no, the flex zone's good. I know the flex
oh
zone.
no, the flex zone is gonna definitely enjoy this one. And I tell you now, you know, when you finally sit down and you see it at face value and you see and understand what's happening, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt as bad.
It's understandable.
Right.
Because you want the best match.
You want the best for your favorite person. Absolutely. But let's get to Judas Black quick and Big Baby Ben. We got like Elimination Chamber, we still have some more matches to talk about. Big Baby Ben, Judas, we'll start with you. What did you think of the Chamber Women's one? I know you two were rooting for Liv, and like ourselves, we were all very upset. Our boy heel Mike, who was with us as well, was very upset. We all understood it, but how do you feel about 48 hours after Chamber?
I'm still pissed about it, man. I mean, I honestly think that it was shitty how they have Liv fucking pin Bianca and then turn around and get hit with a manhandle slam and just give it to Becky. There could have been, even if they were going to let Becky win it, I guess they could have at least let Liv have some kind of ground, like some kind of ground to make her character look like she might get it, she might have it, but instead they just made her look like it wasn't anything. Like she just didn't matter. Like Becky threw her away that damn fast. But my I think Liv should have won it. I'm just gonna stick to that to the fucking day I die.
I'm with you.
But like Leo said, we got a lot to look forward to now. There's a good possibility Liv may be going heel. There's been a lot of signs of it, and I can't wait to see that development. So,
yeah, Liv Mania is starting to run wild.
Yes.
So, Big Baby Ben, what do you got for me, buddy?
The ending was terrible to that match. They made Liv look so weak. She could have kicked out of that manhandle slam. I feel like they could have gave her a couple manhandle slams to let her kick out. She definitely should have got the W, in my opinion. Does she need work? Yes, but what wrestler doesn't? There's veterans on the roster that need work.
True.
In my opinion, Becky does not need this. I was expecting Becky versus Nia Jax at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting. The smash in the face, the broken nose story. I thought that was going somewhere. And once again, WWE just tries to bury it under the rug like nothing happened.
Right.
Well, we still want to see what happened. You had Raquel Rodriguez in there and Tiffany Stratton. Oh my God, what a first
amazing
outing.
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
I mean,
Miss Money in the Bank this year.
like her performance. If we could take away anything positive from
She was the
this, I
MVP.
know we're all fans of Liv and we wanted Liv to win, and it's sad that she didn't. But if we could take something positive from this, Tiffany Stratton was by far the best choice to put in with those talented women to not only prove she belongs on the main roster, but just elevated her to a new level. I mean,
And
she Jeff Hardy'd herself off of the top of the pod, blew my mind.
Yeah,
Blew my mind.
she was the MVP
And
of that match.
yeah, and I also give it to Raquel. I know she stated that she had a flare up of her illness that she has, and she still pulled through like a true fucking warrior. So I give her much kudos to that. I'm so happy that she was still able to be
You know what's
in the
crazy though,
ring
Dylan?
and still do her thing. Naomi looked great. Bianca looked great.
Everybody looked
Becky
great.
did great. Shout out to Becky a little bit because she brought
yeah,
back
she's great. I'm not
the
a
Razor
hater, but
Ramon. Yeah, she brought back Scott Hall look. That was her attire. Was the Scott Hall attire with the red and black, which was great. A nice little homage to none other than Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon,
R.I.P.
playing the bad guy. And guess what? She was the bad guy. She did a bad, she did us people dirty. Got the wins. She became a bad guy in our eyes, maybe. But all in all, the women did amazing. Honestly, that was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, I think if you take the ending out, it was very my favorite match.
Yeah.
Um, Eric, you have a great point. I was very surprised to see Tiffany Stratton being the only heel in that match, but yet she got some of the biggest cheers
Biggest
of that.
pop.
Even in the men's match, she was getting her name
Tiffy
chanted.
time. I loved it. I
Love it.
loved it.
She's
I
going to
tell
be a
you now, Leo, from how you just acted and also how you just changed up, I too will buy a Liv Morgan shirt. And the next time we're all on Raw or pay per view, I will wear a Liv Morgan shirt in honor of you on the character change and in honor of Liv Morgan as well. I gotta get more women's merch anyway, and I will love to start for WWE wise with Liv. I'm also going to be getting some Tiffy merch. Not gonna
because
lie
I
to you,
mean
that's awesome.
the
And I'm also gonna get some Raquel merch.
one thing I that kind of was surprising is when Liv hit that avalanche oblivion and got booed. She was like Dylan was saying, she's a heel, and she played that up very well when she pinned her and she mocked the crowd saying boo hoo.
Yeah, great. Razor Ramon at the fullest. Honestly, I would say for myself, this was my favorite match of the night. This was absolutely amazing. But one match
Miss Money in the Bank this
that,
year called it.
yeah, one match that I would say was very much considered an undercard, very much considered an easy win. The Judgment Day versus the New Catch Republic. That was a way better tag team match than I expected it to be. Absolutely amazing. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bates put on a clinic against the Judgment Day. And they truly, twice could have had that match. And I wish they did to take those belts back to SmackDown because I would have loved to seen that push to the
Yeah.
moon for New Catch Republic. I wish it happened. I know it didn't. Big Baby Ben, we'll start with you, buddy. What did you think of that match? Was it a lot better than a lot of people were making it out to be? I know myself and everybody here when we were doing predictions, easy win, no need to really talk about it. It's Judgment Day. It's not a big deal of a match, but they turned that around and they gave us a banger of a match for sure. Talk to me.
It was one of my favorite matches on the card, honestly.
Wow. Yeah.
Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates showed up and gave an A+ performance like they always do.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne is an outstanding talent. I'm a fan of his. So I was, rooting for Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates to take that home. But unfortunately, which we all knew would happen, honestly, probably, the Judgment Day retains. Do they need to retain, or do they still look strong at the titles? In my opinion, they don't need them. They don't need those tag titles to look strong. Would it have been nice to get a push for Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates? Absolutely. Going into Mania, have a big moment for those two young talents? Absolutely. But once again, WWE is going to make us wait a little bit longer for that. Are they future tag champions? Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Judas, what do you think, buddy?
Absolutely love the match. I think Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne should have won that. The New Cash Republic. You brought him out strong. You've been having them win for weeks. You brought him in flashing and looking good, and then you just buried him with the Judgment Day. Like, you just made him look like they couldn't do it. I think that they gave an A+ performance, just like Big Baby said. And I feel like the Judgment Day did a good job at delivering a hell of a match as well, like they always do. But they don't need the titles, in my opinion. They really don't. They don't need them to look good. You got this faction that's been running strong for a while, and they don't need titles to make that faction look great at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wolf also said some really great comments. Of course, Pete Dunne and Bates delivered. Balor and Priest worked wonderfully with these two. I agree as well. I think out of the matches that Damian and Finn has worked with, there's been few that they have worked really well with. And this tag team for sure was another one I would like to see this match again. But also the biggest thing before we get to Leo, because you're going to also talk about this first, Leo, is we had a little bit of a blackout during the show, during that match. We all thought maybe it was just the connection. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's the front row of Perth giving the fingers and saying "F you, Dominic" on
They call him a
Peacock.
wanker.
And they called him a wanker. They called him a whole bunch of wild names, and they all gave him a nice bird.
How did you guys find that out?
Yeah, it's
They
all. It's all
couldn't
over
shut
the
on live
internet.
television. They got sponsors.
Yeah, it is the biggest news that is sweeping the internet, of course. Middle finger Dom, wanker Dom, wanker Dom. It has been absolutely great to see that was happening. And that is why we had that 10-second blackout. But Leo, talk to me. What did you think of this match here before we get, of course, to the men's chamber?
I'd say it was very entertaining. I think they definitely had a lot to give. I feel like what kind of hurt this match, I would like to see them win the tag titles, but let's be honest, I feel like they weren't going to win only because we can see the direction that they're going with the Judgment Day. You can see it clear as day if you haven't been watching Raw. They're literally going in the route of having them going up against Awesome Truth of R-Truth and The Miz at WrestleMania, and I think there is where they'll drop the tag title. So if that's the ultimate end goal for them as tag team champions, that is where they're going to drop them. So unfortunately, that was not the case, but you had so many great spots. They literally had that spot where it looked like literally Finn Balor dislocated his fingers. Are we like that right there? Pete Dunne, master of the manipulation of fingers. Let's talk about it. Like, this guy, joint manipulation. Like, this match was great. Like, you think about you think about literally, if you look at singles capacity, Pete Dunne and Finn Balor have had some great matches together. Going back to NXT for the NXT title, when Finn Balor was going back on his redemption, kind of rebuilding himself when he's in NXT. That was a great match that they had together. And now you add the possibility of when you have the Tyler Bate, someone who's very young. Both of them, they're both very young, you guys. So there's still time for them to kind of get that tag title run that we want for them. It just take a little time to get there, of course. But don't be surprised by the end of the year, we're sitting here saying, oh, they're the tag team champions. Who called it? I did. They're going to be tag team champions by the end of this year. Me personally, if I'm the way I'm booking it, maybe you have them win it literally at Bash in Berlin.
That'd be a great one. That'd be a great moment. That'd be a really, really great moment to see them win that at Bash of Berlin. But let's get, of course, to the next one, and it is none other than the men's chamber. We thought Randy was going to pull out a crazy one. Unfortunately, he looked like he hurt his back during all of that.
Yeah.
There has been no real reports from what I've been reading sporadically throughout the day. I haven't really been on my phone too much. I've kind of been all over the place here in Long Island between Psycho Circus and then another indie show today that I went to. I was honored to go to. So I didn't really see too much, but Drew did come out victorious, like we all know, which means we're getting Drew and Seth. But Randy's, though, performance was amazing. But let's talk about Logan Paul for a bit, because, of course, he drew a little fat guy stick figure and said that's Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens sucks. But then once Kevin Owens saw that Logan Paul's chamber was opening up, he locked it back up and beat the living snot out of him in that chamber, and there was no escape for Logan Paul. Logan was getting the 1-2 buckle my shoe for at least a good solid 10 minutes, 100%, and it was funny to see. Logan put on a great performance as well, though I do think I would have changed up some of the contenders, one being Bobby and one being Kevin Owens. I know we had that great conversation on our predictions pod of who we would do, as well as our booking show that we do here on the channel. Of course, if you've not listened or watched any of that, please go ahead and give it a listen after this is over. But I tell you now, Dominic would have been very exciting to see, especially with all that nuclear heat he was getting at Chamber already, putting him in a pod, listening to all of that. Oh, would have been wild. So, Leo, we'll start with you, buddy. How did you think this match ended? And do you think we have a very exciting one on the way for Drew and Seth at 40?
I really do think Drew deserved this moment. I think there was no doubt or question about it. Like, he was the guy going into it that deserved it. He's kind of been just like going crazy at CM Punk, like literally talking about taking this spot, and now he's actually taking his spot at Mania, which is crazy. And if he wins the title, you know for a fact he is going to rub it in CM Punk's face. Now let me talk to you guys about this. Think long term for a second. If he wins the title, right? He goes on his run. You can literally build from WrestleMania to close to SummerSlam, and by SummerSlam, maybe like Money in the Bank, you build from Money in the Bank going into SummerSlam, Drew versus Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. I really feel like long term, that is the goal that they're going to be getting to, is they're going to have this match at SummerSlam, and by then, if Punk possibly wins the title, then you can possibly have the roles be reversed if you want to do the CM Punk and Seth Rollins story going into the later part of 2024, heading into Rumble season next year. That will be a great thing to kind of tie up those loose ends. And I feel like they kind of swerved us a little bit in a sense of what we could be expecting for WrestleMania. Because for me and Dylan, and I shared this with Dylan, I thought LA Knight was going to get pinned by, Logan and everything, and kind of set things up for a WrestleMania match for the U.S. Championship. But what we've seen was the total opposite. AJ Styles came in there, and people have been talking about it all day, been joking fun. He wrote 34 hours just to beat the living crap out of LA Knight, making sure he didn't walk out with that victory. And he did.
That's the player hater of the year for sure.
Player hater of the year will go to AJ Styles.
He flew 30 hours
just
to cost LA Knight a victory.
That
real
is
player hater
Black
of
Force
the year
energy
status.
right there.
Yeah,
that's
Jimmy's not the player hater anymore. He now has to top that. Yeah,
and
AJ is now the player hater of the year, but
he is.
Absolutely, I agree. Big Baby Ben, let me talk to you. How did you think the ending of this one happened? And of course, do you see big things on the horizon for Drew as we inch closer to WrestleMania 40?
Well, I'm a Randy Mark. We all know I'm a big Randy
All
Orton
righty,
fan.
great conversation. We'll move on to the next one.
He'll be in
Anyway,
the US
no, I'm
title
just
picture.
kidding.
He'll be in the US title opportunity. I feel like if we want to think
That-
about being honest, he could probably, with the way they kind of set things up with him getting screwed by Logan. Don't be surprised if they want to do Logan versus Randy one-on-one, or if you want to add Kevin Owens in the mix if there's still unfinished business there, and make that be your US title match at WrestleMania. Me personally, I think it should be one-on-one Logan Paul versus Randy Orton. You have the future, and you have one of the greatest of all time in Randy Orton. That would be a dream match for me. He kind of hit that RKO out of nowhere, like he does very well. And Wolf made a great point. Maybe they could do a multi-man ladder match for the US belt if you want to. But the way they set it up, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to do one-on-one Logan versus literally Randy Orton. Because he
and
did
Randy's
get
going to
screwed.
get the W at Mania.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
If he loses, I would be very shocked if they let Logan Paul retain over Randy Orton, because
There's no way.
I would be upset, and I knew for a fact you would be livid if they let that happen.
Shutting
Big
off
Baby
the TV.
Ben won't watch wrestling no more.
No more.
No more.
It's done.
Done. Judas,
Leo.
talk to me. What are you thinking?
I think it was absolute horseshit. The simple fact that Randy had that match won and Logan Paul costed him, it straight out tells me, Logan Paul, you're fucked. You just screwed up and hit one of the biggest legends with a pair of brass knucks and cost him a world title opportunity. He is going to beat your ass across that ring, back and forth, hit you with an RKO, and by the time you wake up, that title ain't going to be on your waist
He's
anymore.
gonna punk kick this man.
The punt's coming back for Logan Paul, especially for Logan Paul.
I hope so.
He's
I
gonna wake
fucking
up at
hope so.
home wondering what the fuck happened and realize he no longer has that U.S. title.
He would have wake back up in Puerto Rico.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I agree. It looked like Randy was going to get it, but I am
how
happy for
Randy-
Drew. I'm happy that we're getting what we're getting out of this whole WrestleMania thing, and it adds more fuel to the fire for him and Punk. You know, Drew and Punk's story that is being told right now, of course, with T-shirts and making fun of him with his tricep tear and surgery and all this other stuff.
I love how Randy feigned like he was
I have
back
one
until he
downside to
couldn't
this
get up
match,
and then just hit
it's
Drew
funny.
with that RKO. That was beautiful. That was
I
great.
have one downside. Why did Bobby Lashley be the first one to get pinned? It's Black History Month.
And Naomi was the first one to get pinned.
What is going on? It's Black History Month. Why are we taking the pin first? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Hey man, I'm not the booker. I tell you
You're
that now.
also
I
a
wouldn't.
alien.
I
Let me
wouldn't have
find
done
out,
that.
Billy. Let me find out. Yeah, on some racist stuff behind the scenes. Let me find out.
Hey
Come on
man,
now.
you never know. You never know. But of course, the main event, hometown hero, the Aussie icon. No, Grayson Waller, that is not you. It is Mommy, who's always on top. Rhea Ripley retaining against Nia Jax. Definitely a match that was good. I thought it was a Monday Night Raw match, to be very frank. It didn't have a lot of build. It didn't really exceed any of my expectations. They tried to oversell her finishing move, Nia's finishing move, as something you can never break out of. And when it was kicked out, they tried to oversell it a lot with this whole, oh my God, she kicked out. I just couldn't. I knew it was happening. Like, I didn't really need the whole extra drama and excitement behind it. I'm happy Rhea got her moment. I'm happy Rhea got the main event in her home country. I'm happy she got the spotlight and got to celebrate with her family, because now her eyes are now focused on none other than the man herself. It's now Mommy v. Man at WrestleMania 40. For the time being, you never know. Anything's possible. But we'll start with you, Judas. what did you think? How did you enjoy the Rhea Ripley match? Do you see that maybe Nia wasn't the person we wanted to have? Of course, with Rhea, at Elimination Chamber. Talk to me.
I absolutely love the match. I am glad Rhea retained. I did not want to see Nia wearing the belt. Like, no, Nia's not the main event picture person that's supposed to be on the posters. She's just not, unfortunately. She just doesn't fit that description for me. I feel that Mommy did exactly what she said, proving that she is the dominant woman on the brand, proving that she has what it takes to stay on top and be the number one woman in the locker room. So I absolutely love seeing Rhea pick up the victory. That is actually the one match that I wasn't disappointed in for the night. So thank you, Mommy.
All right. Thank you, Mommy. You heard it here first. Leo, talk to me. What'd you think?
This might be a hot take. It was a decent match. Like you said, I feel like this match kind of came off as more of like a Monday Night Raw main event to me. It really didn't scream main event pay-per-view level to me. We knew Rhea Ripley was going to win. I was literally shocked to see how many people literally said they could have pulled a swerve when they said Becky won the chamber, Nia was going to win the title. Bro, I'm telling you now, if WWE decided to make that move, I feel bad for WWE because they were about to get a riot of a century because fans were going to be.
You would have led the charge. You would have been so bent out of shape after Liv that you would have tried to kill Papa H after having Nia Jax be the new champ. Oh my God. That would have been that, I think, would have been the final straw. If you watched Nia Jax beat Rhea in Australia, you were like, you know what? We're going to Titan. We're going to Titan Towers tomorrow morning. Get a couple hours of sleep. Yeah,
First row.
We're gonna meet them Monday in Connecticut. If Papa H isn't there, we're waiting in that building until he shows up. Because he's got to show up eventually.
But let's be
honest,
we're
going to find him and we're going to give him
the way
a 1-2 buckle my shoe.
The way they kind of played up the fact that with this whole finisher she has, like we knew she was gonna kick out. I feel like she kind of oversold it just a little bit. Like, it's just the way the overselling was kind of a little bit too much. I feel like it was kind of just a little bit too far for me, in my personal opinion. I feel like Nia Jax, she kind of destroyed her a little bit to an extent. Like in the match, she was kind of getting the upper hand on her, like the first half, and you kind of had that comeback of Rhea in the match, which we knew was gonna happen. And let's be honest, it was Lily in Australia. You literally had her family front row. Do you really think they were going to have her lose to Nia Jax in Australia in front of her family? And if you do, you're entitled to your opinion, but come on. It was gonna happen. They were not gonna do that. Not one with everything they've been teasing with Becky, not everything they've been teasing with the Liv. It was not going to happen. They were not going to put that title on Nia Jax. I'm gonna be honest. They weren't gonna do it. When you have two potential stories, even if you want to throw Bianca in there because you got the 2K cover stars on having a potential match at a WrestleMania down the line, come on now. You really think they were going to potentially put the title on her when you have those potential feuds lined up, ready to go for her? And plus, you got to think of the draft. Come on. No. Becky, no. If Nia Jax.
All right. We don't listen. We don't want you to pop another aneurysm. Please. We can't. We can't afford it on the budget. We can't. You blew the budget Saturday. I'll be honest. And then the divorce, dude, you're fucked here. You're eating potato chips. Okay, you're eating 2-year-old potato chips right now. That's it. That's what you got to starve on for a whole week until you get your paycheck. So
what paycheck?
I feel terrible.
What paycheck?
Right. Yeah. She probably took half of that too. Big Baby Ben, let's finish it off with you, buddy. How'd you feel about this match? What are we thinking?
It was a good match, but I'm gonna have to agree with Leo. kind of oversold the finisher, and with the kick out, we all knew Nia Jax wasn't going to win in Australia. There's just no way Rhea Ripley's dropping her title in her home country. She's over right now.
Not with Nia.
You weren't gonna have Fiona win that title.
Nia is not championship ready. Nia is not championship ready. How many injuries has she caused since she showed up on the scene?
I could think a handful off the bat.
See? Look, she's not championship ready. She's not even. She needs to go back to NXT.
First. She's got to prove she's safe first.
I mean, since her return, she's been safer, and she's been dominant.
Return, she has been safer. Absolutely, we'll give her that.
But is she championship ready? Is she WrestleMania 40 ready? Absolutely not. No way.
I like
that's my opinion.
I like it. I like the takes, guys. Of course, I always appreciate everybody hanging out with us and doing these things. But we have come. This podcast was supposed to be like an hour, 2 hours tops. It's now 2 hours and 40 minutes of absolute nonstop content over here. So no one could say we don't deliver on content. There's a lot of fucking watch hours here on Last Week of Wrestling podcast. We're giving you movies. All right, we're giving you damn movies. Absolutely. But guys, let's wrap it up here. Let's get everyone to bed on a Sunday, so that way some of us can get some sleep. At least try to catch up on this crazy weekend of wrestling that we have had. Of course, let us go to Big Baby Ben and Judas Black, because I know they just had an amazing interview recently today over on their channel. Big Baby Ben, since you got the big screen, Judas, don't worry, you're coming up here next. Don't feel bad. Don't think we don't love you down there in the corner. Talk to me, Big Baby Ben. What happened today over on the channel?
We had an exclusive interview with Eldridge Shannon III out of CSW, a high-flying storytelling superstar, and he was also in the theater. And it was quite the interesting interview. I would go check it out. He's an amazing guest. I would highly recommend him, Dylan, for him to come on.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can do some self-promotion real quick, I just dropped a new song called Not Like This, and it's on the Wrestling with Bros YouTube page. Please go check it out.
Dope. Definitely I like it. I like it. All righty. Judas Black. There you go. Now you're on. Now you're on the big screen now. All right.
Yeah.
Don't say I don't love you.
As Big Baby said, we had an amazing interview with Eldridge Shannon III. I actually worked personally with him up at CSW with my training. Amazing performer, does great in the ring, great storyteller. We both were just cutting promos to each other tonight, with me being Judas Black and him being the storyteller, the pen man, Also, we have a couple more interviews coming up. Omar Sala coming up Wednesday at 7:00, and then Sunday the 3rd, March 3rd, we have FXB, the Black Sheep, and then Monday, March 4th, we have Nasty Nick Nolan at 8:00. So tune in. The interviews are great. We want to see you guys there.
Yes, that is 100% a fact. They do great work over there on Wrestling with Pros. That's why we keep them around. And of course, they're funny takes. I also enjoy them too. Leo, my guy, what a week we've had. But talk to me, because it's not over yet. It's honestly, it's just fucking begun. What do we got cooking? What do we got cooking over on Kicking It with Leo?
I got some more quiz videos coming out. I'm gonna try to get my review on the We Want Live movement, give my personal take on it, and where do I think it can lead for her. That video's coming out for sure. I want to get that video out to a lot of the guys, especially for you Liv Morgan fans. I'm even on my Liv Morgan fan, but I'll put that out for you guys. That's my video to you guys. Definitely, I'll be trying to do some fantasy booking mania, especially kind of see a little bit more of a clear path with some of the things. If you guys want I would book Liv Morgan's road to WrestleMania after what happened at Chamber, I would personally I would do that. I would be okay doing that video with you guys. Honestly, tomorrow we got Monday Night Raw, which I will be here for. the fallout from Chamber. Like I said earlier, it's a possibility we could see that long-awaited heel turn that I think people are kind of going to be wanting clamoring for. It's a possibility we could see it tomorrow night. So if it is, you'll get my reaction and Dylan's reaction and Judas's reaction, Ben's action, and so much more. And we'll get our thoughts and opinions on that and everything like that. And like I said, it's like he said, like Dylan said, the road to WrestleMania is not over yet. There's still 40 days away, and anything can change. People can some of these matches can stay the same. They can expand on some of these matches. People can get added. That's what the road to WrestleMania is for. Road to WrestleMania is for is to expect the unexpected. It's full of twists and turns. It's a roller coaster, a ride of emotions. It's you have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, but at the end of it, it's going to be a huge up in the grand scheme of things. So I would say be patient. I know a lot of people, including myself, want Liv to win and want to get her moment. It's still time for
No,
that.
really, we would have never have known.
Well, I literally said it. I mean, like, it's still time. She still
Said
can
it,
get her moment
screamed it.
and everything like that. She's still gonna get her moment. I personally do agree with that. It's still gonna happen. We got
Booker
AEW
admits
fantasy
Money in the
booking.
Bank.
I say Tiffany Stratton winning some Money in the Bank this year. Me personally. But as for
Tiffy time.
yeah, we got AEW fantasy booking as we head into Revolution next Sunday, which Dylan will be at. So if you guys are happen to be fans of the channel and you guys are there, go up and say hello to Dylan. I mean, he's giving you guys the greatest content that on the planet. So hey, he's the tribal chief for a reason. Go acknowledge him. Go say hey. And if he thinks you're worth it, he'll give you a picture or whatever the case is. But we'll be doing that. We got AEW Dynamite on next Wednesday as well. So that'll be the final go home show before the pay-per-view. We have predictions coming out as well. I will be putting my predictions out this week, probably Wednesday at the latest, or maybe Thursday, just because they might always add another match or something like that. That's
Right.
what they tend to do, and I don't want my video to be outdated and stuff like that. So definitely my predictions will be coming for sure this week. But like you said, it hasn't ended. It's just begun. Like, we literally just came off a huge week full of live streams and stuff as we got ready for Chamber. Now it's beginning all over again because Monday Night Raw is literally tomorrow night, and we're on the fast track to AEW Revolution, and on the fast track to the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania, 40 days away. But I'm very excited. This is a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Absolutely. Leo said it best. Tomorrow, Monday Night Raw watch alongs are happening, and they're going to continue to happen for the remainder of the year, each and every Monday. That's right. We're going to do another one, but tomorrow's one will be the last one until March 11th. I do leave, like Leo said, for AEW Revolution Friday, March 1st, and I come back the 4th at night. I will be missing the first 2 hours of Monday Night Raw, so it'll be very hard to do a stream or a watch along. But of course, AEW Dynamite's not get affected this week because we will be doing a watch along for that as well. So make sure you stay tuned, stay locked and loaded in to the greatest Long Island podcast out here. Come on now, everyone knows it. MJF tells me every day. I see him in the morning when he's getting his newspaper. He goes, "Man, you just can't stop." And I was like, "Listen, I won't stop." And of course, Thursday, the night before I leave, I can't leave you guys off with nothing. I can't leave you guys with no predictions. We're going to be doing a predictions pod right here for AEW Revolution, which, of course, if you are new to this channel, all of our pods and our predictions are always available for audio listeners of the channel. So on your Spotify, on your Apple Pod, on your Google Plays, all that good stuff, Stitcher, and so much more is available. The day that the pod is done live streaming, it is available within the next hour or two after the show is completely over for all of you audio content listeners out there. So make sure you run up those numbers. We're at 28. We're trying to get to 50 by WrestleMania, guys. I know we can do it. So put you back into it and click that button and hit that follow button. All right. And of course, make sure you check us all out. Also, of course, I'd be remiss to say not only thank you to Leo, thank you to Big Baby Ben, and thank you to Judas Black, but big ups to Ramen Reigns like normal. Absolutely. Only type of tribal chief I'll ever acknowledge. Ramen Reigns. He's the ramen champion. And of course, look out for Dipset Cody's new album. Maybe Big Baby Ben will be dropping a single with Dipset. And I'm very excited for that as well. Hey, man, it's always possible if Cody's unstoppable. All right. Of course, I love everybody here. Thank you, of course, to everybody in the chat. To Chris, Lee Claire, of course, Wolf. Let's get going here. Who else? Eric, Temple, Facebook user, Oscar. Who else? We had a lot of faces today. Sammy, yes.
Facebook user was my sister Stephanie.
Okay. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Much appreciated. Ninja Boy, Tino, of course, coming in. Deontay with the Europe. Of course, Scott is back. Big B from the greatest podcast ever, the Flex Zone Pod, God's favorite host, God's favorite person. Go check out that Flex Zone stuff. Leo's also a part of that. A little flex on the Flex Zone little spot right there. Look at that. Double entendre. I still got it. Santos came in. Joe Panther came in. I mean, guys, you guys always kill it. I appreciate you all. But, of course, I appreciate all the amazing guests that I have on each and every week. Let's get the hell out of here, guys. I got to do a bunch of editing and uploading now. So that'll be in the next couple of hours. But we'll see you tomorrow. Monday Night Raw. Watch along. Have a great day. Have a great night. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. Everything's available down below in the Discord. And if you are purchasing a WWE item from the item shop, there's a link tree with that description. Of course, go over there. It helps us out, and it helps you out with 10% off, including NordVPN. We also are giving you a great deal for that as well. So make sure you use that. Plus, we're also partnered with none other than the great folks over in Chicago, the Main Event Wrestling Network. So big ups to them. They're down there as well. Show everybody over there, the Wrestling Junkies on the Mark, and all the other great content creators over there some love as well. Guys, that's it. Have a great night. We'll see everybody tomorrow for Monday Night Raw.
Start to feel like I'm dreaming, man, should have seen that look on my face. But I'm so low-key, I'm an anonymous G that I left no trace. But when I step one foot in the room, I'ma set this place.